What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 7 Chapter 123 The Summit War begins. Seraph is eye-catching. Advertisement. After that storm, Golden Lion had an extra half of the rudder above his head, which greatly hindered him from displaying his strength freely. Coupled with the Marineford incident that year, Sengoku and Garp jointly took it down and sent it to Impel Down. In order to escape from Impel Down, Golden Lion cut off his feet and tied his two famous knives, Deadwood and Sakura Ten, to his legs to act as your own legs. It can be said that today's Golden Lion's old illness has greatly affected his strength. If he can recover from his old illness, even if his strength can't return to the peak, he can still recover a lot, at least he can use Conqueror's Haki freely. Golden Lion was tempted, and it happened that he also wanted to see the effect of the Magic 5, otherwise he would not have come to Whitebeard. Newgate, show me the effects of fairy beans, haha. Golden Lion said with a happy expression. Whitebeard is not talking nonsense, he still knows Golden Lion very well, how can he say that he was on the same pirate group back then? After the disbandment of the Rocks Pirates, Kaido and Big Mom stood together, and Whitebeard joined the Golden Lion. Later, Whitebeard wanted to establish his own pirates, so he chose to leave. Whitebeard throws a fairy bean directly to Golden Lion, which Rayleigh got from Celestial Dragons in the auction house. Of the two fairy beans first got from Marine, one was taken by Whitebeard himself, and the second was given to Ace. Golden Lion took the fairy bean with one hand, then couldn't help but glanced at it, and frowned suddenly. Whitebeard, are you sure you're not kidding me? This is clearly an ordinary mung bean. Golden Lion was speechless, seriously suspecting that Whitebeard was playing tricks on him. Rayleigh couldn't help but chuckled. Golden Lion, you are still as impatient as before. Didn't you read the newspaper a few days ago? The appearance of the fairy beans described above is similar to that of ordinary fairy beans. Golden Lion is noncommittal, but you will know if it is true or not anyway. He is not a hypocritical person, and he knows that Whitebeard will not harm him, because Whitebeard disdains to do this kind of thing. Golden Lion took it in one gulp, and the celestial beans melted instantly in his mouth. Before Golden Lion could be amazed, he couldn't help being startled, feeling the changes in his body. The rudder inserted into his head began to fall off, and as it left his body, he fell to the ground. Immediately afterwards, the legs that were originally tied with Deadwood and Sakura Ten began to break the rope, and as the two knives fell to the ground, the feet that I cut off back then grew back. Golden Lion stared wide-eyed at what happened in front of him, feeling both surprised and delighted. Isn't the speed of the rebirth of the severed limb too amazing? This is faster than when I broke my legs. There was no knife or other sharp weapon in the prison for Golden Lion to cut off his own legs, so it is said that he tore off his own legs abruptly. Is this the magical item from Sengoku's nephew's ability to fish devil fruit? The effect can be called heaven-defying, ha 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 ha. Golden Lion's pupils were wide open, and there was only ecstasy on his face. The mood is really happy. When he got the news of the magical item before, he was still dubious, but now he completely believes it. In that case, as long as you get the source rope called Age, then you will return to the peak. Golden Lion looked enthusiastic. Whitebeard, Rayleigh, look forward to the cooperation of the three of us. It's time for us to let this warm era feel the horror of our era. So far, the helper of the Whitebeard pirates is completely determined. Red Hair Pirates, Pluton, Rayleigh, has recovered from an old ailing Golden Lion. On the other side, Kaido and Big Mom are also prepared, planning to wait until the war between the Whitebeard pirates and Marine enters a fierce stage and enter the spoiler. While the others are targeting magical items, Kaido and Big Mom are clearly targeting Monk. If there is no way to get Monk, then choose to kill directly. Absolutely cannot continue to allow Monk to help Marine grow. On Egg Point Island, Vegapunk, at the request of Marine, provided help to Marine pacifists. These pacifists are Bartholomew Bear, the original pacifist. However, with the help of the Seraphim Corps that Monk fished before, the Pacifist Seraph series came out ahead of schedule. Using this core, Vegapunk created S-Snake, which is Henku's childhood appearance. The S-Snake was also given to Marine. It is worth mentioning that the highest command authority of S-Snake is Monk. No matter how Vegapunk is debugged, he can only master the second level authority and cannot obtain the highest authority. That is to say, as long as Monk is present, he has absolute control over the S-Snake. This made Monk very happy. After S-Snake came to Naval Headquarters, he was immediately included by his side. Although the strength is only at the Shichibukai level, Monk has never looked at the strength of the people around him. Advertisement. He felt that the two women beside him were all Miss U, and only one Lolita could be considered a full life. As time passed slowly, time came to the eve of the war. Naval Headquarters was exceptionally quiet. Facing the upcoming battle, everyone's mood was hard to calm down. As for Monk, his mood is also difficult to calm down, but it is different from others. The main reason why he can't calm down is because tomorrow will be double fishing benefits. This time he got 50 billion Baileys, subsidy, from the Golden Emperor. Counting double fishing rewards, Monk can fish 10 god level fishing. This time Monk doesn't plan to fish for other levels, all of them are fishing for god level fishing, so that the benefits can be maximized. For other levels of fishing, Monk can prostitute Marine for nothing. Soon, Monk fell asleep in a mood full of anticipation. Soon it will be the next day. Early in the morning, Naval Headquarters began to prepare for the battle, and the soldiers were deployed in an orderly manner. In Sabayati Island, Countless people are already waiting for the start of the live broadcast in front of the largest screen in the square. Not just the Sabayati Island archipelago, but basically the rest of the world is waiting for Ace's public execution. Everyone is watching the screen that has not yet started broadcasting, ready to witness this historic scene. I don't know who will win in the end, the Whitebeard pirates or Marine. They don't care about this kind of thing, let's just watch the excitement. Actually, what I want to see more is the magical item. The magical item in the newspaper said it was so magical, and I don't know if it is true or not. That's right, I also want to see if the magical item is so magical, what kind of fairy beam can heal instantly. There is also the one called the Universal Capsule, which can hold a whole marine warship the size of a palm. It sounds like a fantasy, I want to see if there are really those things in the world. That's right, I heard that there are still people who can regain their youth. It's too fake, how is it possible? Under the influence of the newspapers a few days ago, people are now focusing more on magical items. They want to see if the magical item that the newspaper says is real. While waiting, someone in the crowd suddenly shouted, "Come, come. The live broadcast of the public execution has begun." Immediately, people waiting for the live broadcast all over the world began to make noise. On the screen of the live broadcast, the Marine Square first appeared, and at this moment there were only less than 10,000 Marine soldiers in the Marine Square. At first, people who watched the live broadcast thought that Marine would show off their strong troops, but now they saw a team of less than 100,000. Such a scene with a huge gap with the heart, directly to the people who watched the live broadcast was dumbfounded. Did I read it wrong? This time against the Whitebeard pirates, Marine has summoned such a group of soldiers. I also seriously doubt my eyes, or is Marine so confident? No matter how confident you are, you can't be overconfident. No matter what the other party says, they are the strongest pirate group today. War is no joke. Is Marine this rubbish now? Everyone was talking wildly, mainly because Marine's operation directly made them look stupid. Facing the strongest Whitebeard pirate group, only such a small force was assembled, which is not enough to fight. It's over, Marine might kneel. What is Marine doing? If the Whitebeard pirates win, how rampant the pirates will be in the whole world. Although this battle has nothing to do with their ordinary people, the subsequent impact is related to their affairs. If Marine loses, there is no doubt that pirates all over the world will go crazy. The deployment of Marine undoubtedly made the people watching very dissatisfied. The camera of the live broadcast screen turned to the huge execution platform. At this time, there was no one on the execution platform, which was more than 10 meters high. Rot. However, at this moment, a door suddenly appeared on the execution platform, which stunned the people watching the live broadcast. Did you see how this door came about? I didn't pay attention to it just now, but there is this door in a blink of an eye. It appeared out of thin air. I can guarantee that it appeared out of thin air. Appeared out of thin air. What the hell is this door? Quote. Advertisement. Out of everyone's mind, the pink door opens and Sengoku steps out. With a solemn face, Sengoku walked to the front slowly, then picked up the microphone in his hand, and said in a dignified tone, "Here, let me introduce myself first, I am the current Marshal Marine. Country." This scene directly ignited the whole world. Damn, outrageous. This door can actually walk out of a person. Did you see it just now? The scene at the other end of the door seems to be a room. See, it's not the execution platform at all, but another scene. I remembered. This newspaper seems to have mentioned it, it seems to be called something. I remembered, it's something called any door in the magical items. There really are. If any door appears, doesn't that mean that other magical items are also real? It's amazing, if only I had such a door. Yeah, if I have one, I'll go directly to the final island. 0. The appearance of any door makes people who are watching the live broadcast realize that magical items really exist, which makes people all over the world wonder, what about other magical items? On the screen, Sengoku didn't waste too much nonsense, and directly let Shichibukai appear on the stage. And introduce their names. People watching the stream were buzzing when they saw some Shichibukai they knew. Doflamin, Brother, Hancock, Bear, Hawkeye, Moria and Blackbeard, and behind these Shichibukai there is a little one. The little one is the S-Snake, which once again aroused the surprise of the audience in front of the live screen. How can there be a child? Marine is recruiting children to join the army. It's fine to join the army, but you are still allowed to go to the battlefield. Isn't it a bit cruel to do this? How much strength can a child display? That's right, Marine is still a human. The child is obviously sent to die. Hey, have you noticed that this Shichibukai called S-Snake looks like an empress? It really seems, almost carved out of the same mold. Is it Hancock's sister? I think so. In short, no matter what the identity of the S-Snake is, it is Marine's fault to let a child go to the battlefield. Is it because the soldiers can't be found, and the children are forced to make up the number? People are outraged that Marine put a kid, like S-Snake on the battlefield. It's too inhumane. What kind of combat power can a child have? Just let her die. At naval headquarters, Shichibukai and others were also very surprised after seeing the snake behind them. Hancock, is this your sister? Or your daughter? Doflamingo asked with a smile, sticking out his tongue. Hancock glanced at Brother Ming angrily, and snorted coldly. I don't have any daughters, but my younger sister has two, but it's not her. Strange. Then Hancock, haven't you noticed that the S-Snake looks very similar to you? Moria compared and opened her mouth. Blackbeard sneered. Marine has Vegapunk, maybe they used something from you for research, Hancock. Hancock couldn't help but snorted coldly again. It must be that Marine is playing some tricks again. I'll go to Marine afterward and ask what's going on. Hawkeye wasn't too interested in these things, so he glanced at them from the corner of the eye and then retracted them. But Shang, with his paralyzed face, couldn't tell what he was thinking. After Shichibukai's appearance, Admiral's appearance is next. There are 3 chairs under the execution platform, which belong to Admiral's position, and a random door appears at the same time. Amid the exclamations of the crowd, 3 admirals, Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru, appeared. 3 admiral play, basically the pre-deployment of Marine has been completed. On the execution platform, Sengoku sank into his dantian, and Ji Yusho said, take the prisoner Ace. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Where? Advertisement. Chapter 124 Zephyr. How did you know Whitebeard came from the bottom? Advertisement. As the protagonist of this public execution, Ace also used any door when he was escorted up. The arbitrary door appeared, and the 2 jailers escorted Ace directly from the arbitrary door. Under everyone's gaze, Ace carried his hands behind his back, and his hands were chained and escorted up slowly. In the end, he was forced to kneel down on the execution platform. At this time, Ace's face did not have the high spirits of the past at all. Some are just endless bleakness and loneliness. He lowered his head, hoping in his heart that his father would not come to rescue him. The bearded pirates are no match for Marine at all. Ace has seen the power of magical items in the previous fishing when Monk blocked the door. With the blessing of magical items, Marine's overall strength has not only improved to a higher level. All eyes from all over the world are on Ace, and the whole world is watching this public execution. Beneath the execution platform, Sengoku and Suru stood side by side. Crane glanced at Garp, looked at his expression and couldn't help but said, Garp, are you okay? Garp hid the haze on his face, looked at the crane and said, it's okay, Xiaohei. I'm Marine, pirates don't deserve sympathy for us. Crane took a deep look at Garp, then closed his eyes and said, that's good, Sengoku said, you don't need to make a move today, just hand it over to the new generation. Garp didn't say anything, Sengoku told him directly, but. On the execution platform, Sengoku glanced at Ace, then retracted his gaze, without any other actions. Sengoku stood up straight, holding the phone bug in his hand, and said in a deep voice, as the commander of Marine, all by me, I will announce here the important meaning of this, Tukcho's first execution. 11. In front of the live screens around the world, the audience couldn't help laughing. How could no one know about Marine's obvious trick? The reason why Marine publicly executes Ace is to let the Whitebeard pirates fight. Ha ha ha, that's right, you really think we don't know? Is there any other reason why Sengoku said that? Ha ha, let me tell you that there can be no other reasons. The reason why Marine executed Ace publicly was to defeat the Whitebeard pirates, and then show the world the strength of Marine today, and show the magical items by the way. Most people think so, otherwise Marine wouldn't have used any door directly as soon as the marshal came up. But there is still a doubt, that is, the current Marine force is too small, right? What's more, all kinds of defenses seem to be not in place, which makes people feel that the strength is just like that. Just when everyone complained about Marine's incomplete deployment of the battle, Sengoku spoke again on the screen. Ace, please tell me your father's name. In the Marine square, the Marine soldiers also looked up one after another, Ace's father's famous minister. No one in Ace's father really knows who is here, and besides, does this have something to do with this execution? On the execution platform, Ace bowed his head and said nothing. Sengoku once again asked Ace to say his father's name himself. Ace gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, my father is Whitebeard. Wrong. Sengoku's negation is a sharp knife piercing into Ace's heart, making Ace's expression very ugly. He suddenly roared and said loudly, there is nothing wrong. My father was Whitebeard, and there will always be only Whitebeard. Sengoku doesn't care about Ace anymore, and talks about what happened back then. Under the execution platform, Crane looked at Garp again and said, Garp, the fault is yours. Garp burst into laughter. You woman is quite warm at this moment, Xiaohei. On the execution platform, Sengoku's voice resounded throughout the venue, and at the same time on live screens around the world. At that time, we opened our eyes and searched desperately, looking for a woman who was pregnant. And your mother, Potter Casti. Rouge, this woman's behavior is far beyond our common sense, relying on the belief of wholeheartedly for the child, she intended to let the child stay in the womb for as long as 20 months for a long time. After giving birth to you, I exhausted my energy and died on the spot. The Marine soldiers below all listened silently, and the audience in front of the screens all over the world exclaimed again and again. Let Ace stay in the womb for 20 months. Is this something a human can do? Sure enough, maternal love is the greatest thing in this world. It's a pity that I gave birth to a child and eventually became a pirate. In this case, what are you talking about? Didn't you notice the key point? When Ace was born, Marine actually sent people to search for him and his mother. Advertisement. What does that mean? Ace was not a pirate when he was still in his stomach, that is to say, his father was a very special person. That is to say, there is actually another secret behind the public execution of Ace. What the hell could it be? Following Sengoku's words, people watching this live broadcast from all over the world realized that things did not seem to be that simple. On the screen, Sengoku continued to tell the story, solving everyone's doubts. 1 year and 3 months after the death of the father, the child of the most evil blood in the world was born. On the execution platform, Ace lowered his head, gritted his teeth, and was full of unhappiness and unwillingness. The anger in his heart made his whole body start to tremble. On the side, Sengoku looked at Ace with sharp eyes, and said in a stern voice, "That's you, Bhaskar D. Ace. Your father is, One Piece, Gall D. Roger." The sound of Sengoku is like 1,000 waves of the sea, but it is too shocking to be accompanied by the silence of Ultimate. At this moment, both the naval headquarters Marineford Square and the people watching the live broadcast in front of the screen were shocked. Ace's identity was beyond everyone's expectations. No. It should be said that no one present thought that Ace had such an identity. Everyone's faces were filled with astonishment. I didn't expect that Roger would have offspring, and they would live to such a great age. Yeah, I really didn't expect that Ace, the second team under Whitebeard's command, is actually the biological son of the King of Thieves. Ace's body is filled with the blood of the devil. Shocking. No wonder Marine chose to execute Ace publicly. Doesn't that mean that Whitebeard has spent all these years raising children for his enemies? For the world, everyone thinks that the strong in the old era are hostile to each other. The identity of Ace has brought shock to people all over the world, and so has the soldiers on Marine Square. The pupils of the soldiers trembled, and cold sweat ran across their foreheads. One Piece Roger, even after many years, even hearing the name has a sense of oppression. Since Ace is Roger's child, why is he also a bearded soil team? Fortunately, Roger has been executed, otherwise today I'm afraid. What about the others? Will the former crew of the Roger pirates come to rescue Ace? Even though Roger is dead, his name still moves the Marine soldiers. However, when the Marine soldiers thought that there are magical items in the Marine today, it is no longer the same as it was back then, which made the Marine soldiers feel a lot more at ease. It can be said that today's magical items can be regarded as a kind of confidence and pillar in the hearts of Marine soldiers. On the execution platform, after Sengoku finished speaking, he left time for everyone to be shocked, and did not continue to speak. After waiting for a while, Sengoku felt that it was almost done, and then continued, "There are still 3 hours until the execution time. Everyone, no matter what happens in the next 3 hours, get rid of everyone and guard this place." Down below, the Marine soldiers burst into a roar like a tsunami after hearing the words. For these soldiers, their mission today is to stop the arrival of the Whitebeard pirates. Although they don't know when the Whitebeard pirates will arrive, everyone knows, and Sengoku on the execution platform also knows that Whitebeard will definitely come. Marine soldiers are waiting for the battle, and audiences all over the world are also waiting for the arrival of the Whitebeard pirates. On the sea area outside Marineford, today's fog is extremely thick, almost losing sight. And just when the Marine soldiers were a little relaxed, a sudden exclamation broke the silence. Soldiers on the front line lost contact. This voice once again tugged everyone's hearts. On the execution platform, Sengoku also frowned and murmured in a low voice, "Here we come." In the next second, the soldiers yelled loudly from the observation deck, "There is a ship ahead." Yes, is it our own ship? No, it's not. Yes, it's a member of the Whitebeard pirates. I saw many pirate ships appearing from the fog. These ships have different styles, and each ship has its own pirate flag, but they have one thing in common, they are all members of the Whitebeard pirates. Group members. And the captains of these foreign groups belonging to the Whitebeard pirates are all well-known pirates in New World, and they have gained fame. The front line has completely fallen. The faces of the soldiers are full of astonishment. Isn't this too fast? Advertisement. On the execution stand, Sengoku knew this was going to happen, and the front line was nothing more than a show. Now that the Whitebeard pirates are here, let them in and encircle them. Regarding the matter in New World before, he chose to reach a settlement with the major 4 emperors because that was New World. Once the battle goes on for a long time, it will not only be bad for Marine, but maybe the big pirates will take advantage of the empty naval headquarters to steal their home. As a result, the trouble can be described as huge, but now. This is naval headquarters, which belongs to Marine. If the Whitebeard pirates dare to come, they will stay here forever. Don't disturb the morale of the army, and report the movements of the Whitebeard main group at any time. No, I didn't see the leader of the Whitebeard pirates. I can see it here. All of them are outsiders of the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard and the main captains under his command are all invisible. The report made Sengoku frown, didn't he? What's the situation? Where will the Whitebeard pirates come from? Below, the 3 admirals, and all the marine generals are also strange, and the Whitebeard pirates did not appear by group intention. So how will they come? In Monk's room, Monk, Zephyr, Momosuke and Hina are all watching this live broadcast. Because the 3 of them are now arranged next to Monk, in a sense, their positions in Marine have been weakened, and Sengoku also. There is no requirement that they have to go to war. Where does Whitebeard come from? Momosuke frowned. It's very likely that the people from the outer group will break through first, and after a while, the Whitebeard pirate group will appear. Pirates are all a virtue. Zephyr crossed his hands and analyzed the situation. The situation above. Hina did not express her opinion, because she, the rear admiral, had experienced too few battles, so she was not qualified to speak out. And at this moment, Monk slowly woke up from the bed, yawning and hearing the conversation of several people. He couldn't help but said, "There is another place to enter the Crescent Bay port in the Marine, have you forgotten?" Everyone was taken aback and looked at Gu Monk. Zephyr frowned and asked 0.4, where? Monk continued to yawn. Underwater. After finishing speaking, he got up, and then said, get ready, you guys, after I finish washing, we will go to Crescent Moon Bay. These words directly surprised Momosuke and the others. Going to Crescent Bay, Shao Kei, aren't you not participating in this battle? Zephyr also had a look of surprise, and said repeatedly, Sengoku just said, today you will just stay in the rear and you won't be able to go anywhere. What if you show up and an accident happens? Monk didn't care, how could he not go? He took 50 billion Baileys from the Golden Emperor, and in order to double the fishing today, he fished 10 god-level fishing. So Monk must go. Seeing that Monk didn't answer, the three knew that Monk was going to Crescent Bay as a nailer. Forget it, since Monk is gone, we can only accompany him to mess around. What else can I do? Zephyr is the only one among them who has the strength to suppress Monk. It should not be said that Jifa may not be able to suppress Monk yet. I haven't seen Monk make a move in the past few days, and I don't know how much this guy's strength has improved. The three of them watched Monk enter the bathroom, and then looked back at the live broadcast. I saw countless bubbles suddenly appearing on the originally calm sea surface of Crescent Bay. Zephyr, Momosuke, and Hina couldn't help but look at each other. Is it true that, as Monk said, the Whitebeard pirates and others emerged from the bottom of the sea? On the execution stand, after Sengoku saw the gas cannon on the bottom of the sea, his expression also changed drastically. No way. 100 secrets and a sparse one. Advertisement. Chapter 125. The world is shocked again. Pirate Ultimate Luxury Lineup. Advertisement. After Sengoku saw the gas cannons emerging from the ocean floor, he thought about this hole in the ocean floor. As long as the ship is coated, it can sail on the seabed. I saw a huge figure appeared on the bottom of the Crescent Bay, and the black shadow was getting bigger and bigger, indicating that it was getting closer and closer to the sea surface. The next second, a huge pirate ship jumped out of the sea, and it was Whitebeard's Mobidido. The huge ship set off waves and jumped from the bottom of the sea, which shocked the people present and watching the live broadcast. In Monk's room, the faces of Zephyr, Leaping Rabbit, Zhao and the others changed drastically. It really came out from the bottom of the sea. Hina was shocked. Hina expressed her shock. Monk hit it off again. Zephyr couldn't help looking at Monk, and felt complicated for Monk who was washing up in the toilet. This guy is so young, but he was able to be so meticulous in the deployment of the big battle. You must know that even the veteran himself, the former Marine Admiral, and the resourceful General, Sengoku all missed this point during the deployment, but Monk just woke up and directly pointed out the omission of this deployment. Even Whitebeard the pirates really got in through this loophole. What good thing did Sengoku do in his previous life to have such a nephew? Zephyr was envious, how he wished to have a nephew like Monk. Momosuke was also very surprised. Monk was even more radiant in her heart. Battlefield. The marine soldiers looked at the huge guy jumping out of the sea and exclaimed one by one. Is that the Whitebeard pirates' pirate ship? The Whitebeard pirates broke through to Crescent Bay. The move of the Whitebeard pirates was beyond everyone's expectations, even the people watching the battle from all over the world were unexpected. I thought there would be an artillery battle in the early stage, but I didn't expect the Whitebeard pirates to break through and enter the naval headquarters. Crescent Bay is already considered the interior of Naval Headquarters 29. Not just one Whitebeard pirate ship, but another one to the left and right. 3 giant pirate ships like Sea Kings faced 3 directions of Naval Headquarters, like a small island appeared on the Crescent Bay. Below the execution platform, Admiral's face was noncommittal. Akainu crossed his hands, looked at this scene and snorted coldly, a bunch of sneaky guys. Kazaru said, yo, it's really amazing to let them enter Marineford so easily. Aokiji didn't say anything. On the execution platform, Sengoku did not rush to order an attack, but looked at the ships of the Whitebeard pirates from a distance. He said in a low voice, it's a little troublesome. In this way, the deployment of the outer defense line has completely become a joke. On the side, Ace, who was kneeling on the execution platform, watched the appearance of the Whitebeard pirates, and his face suddenly turned ugly. There is joy in his heart, but more worry and regret. The Whitebeard sea shouldn't have come. However, at this time, things turned around again, and it was not Whitebeard who was slowly walking towards the bow, but Redhead. Sengoku's eyes widened and he watched in disbelief as Shanks slowly walked towards the bow. The appearance of Shanks, the 4 emperors, also made the marine soldiers exclaim. So, that's the broken Shanks. But now Shanks, with the help of Shondo, has recovered his severed arm. Why is the Redhead here? Shouldn't it be Whitebeard? Could it be that the Whitebeard pirates teamed up with the Red Hair pirates? Quote. This means that our marine will face 2 emperors of the sea. Quote. Everyone is dignified, originally facing the Whitebeard pirates full of confidence, but now facing the 2 royal groups, the pressure is enormous. You must know that the battle is not only about the strength of the strong, but also the strength of both sides. Why is Buster Call scary? The scary thing is the scale of Marine's dispatch, enough to overwhelm a country's army. The red hair walked slowly to the bow, with a smile on his face. Sorry, everyone in Marine, I was a little reckless when I came this time, and I didn't greet you in advance. After he finished speaking, he saw a person at the bow of another boat also come to the bow. Sorry, I am the same. It's embarrassing to come to your Marine as a guest without prior notice. Saying that, Rayleigh said with a relaxed smile, but Sengoku, we are old friends, you shouldn't mind. Among the Marine soldiers, many people don't know this old man. Who is this old fellow? I don't know, does this person exist on the Red Hair Pirates? No, the other cadres are all on the Splint. Advertisement. To be able to stand out like the redhead of the four emperors, the identity is probably not simple. Quote, Rayleigh has been retiring since Roger disbanded the pirates until now, but Marine executives have basically forgotten his existence. Under the execution platform, the eyes of Crane and Garp shrank. A great person has come. I never thought that this guy is still alive. At the front of the Marine deployment, Shichibukai and others had different expressions on their faces. Haki and Shang don't need to say much, both of them have facial paralysis and can't see any changes in their expressions. However, Haki seldom murmured to himself, red hair. This guy's broken arm has recovered. Haki and Red Hair used to spar a lot, but after Red Hair lost his arm, they hardly sparred. Participating in this battle today is because he is Shichibukai and also because he wants to see how far he is from the man standing on the throne today. And now the development of things is far more interesting than he expected. After seeing Rayleigh, Hancock didn't have much thought except the initial surprise. Brother Ming stuck out his tongue like a devil, grinning and said, "It's really interesting, it's really interesting. This time the battle is much more interesting." Moria, the weakest one, was frightened. How come there are so many awesome characters? What about just fighting the Whitebeard pirates? He is also a well-known pirate in the old days, but he was hit hard by Kaido after entering the New World, and has never recovered from it. So I still know Rayleigh. The double royals and Rayleigh, a strong man from the old era, made these 10 battles that were originally must-wins full of variables. Moria felt that if the situation was not right, then he would slip away. On Blackbeard's side, the appearance of Redhead and Rayleigh brightened his eyes. The more complicated the situation is, the better it is for him. Thief, ha ha ha. Blackbeard laughed in a low voice. He planned to retreat. It was time to go to the submarine prison. The audience's attention was not on Blackbeard at all, so Blackbeard left the scene quietly and went to the submarine prison. On the execution platform, Sengoku looked at the Redhead and Rayleigh, listening to their greetings to himself and Marine. He couldn't help but lower his voice, and said with the handset, "Redhead, Rayleigh, why did you two get involved in this matter? And where is Whitebeard now?" Whitebeard didn't show up, which made Sengoku feel uncomfortable. Hee. Sengoku, old friend is here, it's fine if you don't greet old friend, but ask other people. Rayleigh chuckled. It makes me feel so sad. Why are we involved in this matter, don't you understand? Sengoku. The redhead also said. I'm here to rescue the offspring of that man. How can I say that I was taken care of by him back then? Now that his son has an accident, shouldn't I repay it? Sengoku's expression darkened suddenly. At this moment, the people who were watching the live broadcast were basically excited. The red hair appeared on the ship of the Whitebeard pirates, which is already very surprising, which means that Marine will face the double emperor. What I didn't expect now is that, the strong man of the old era who has been silent for many years, Rayleigh also appeared. The former vice captain of One Piece, Pluton, Rayleigh. This battle, Marine is hanging. Originally, Marine's deployment this time was less, and now they have to face the sudden appearance of red hair pirates and Rayleigh. Marine is over now. I'm afraid none of Sengoku's nephew's magical items will work. The emergence of red hair pirates and Rayleigh has changed the mentality of people in the world, and they feel that Marine will fall this time. And at this moment, Marineford on the screen suddenly dimmed, as if something blocked the sunlight. After the reason appeared on the screen, everyone watching the battle in the world felt their scalps go numb. That's a mountain. It should be considered a small island. Small, the island is suspended in midair. What a terrifying ability this is. Who the hell can do all this? Naval Headquarters Marineford, above the square, the Marine soldiers all raised their heads, looking at what happened above the sky, their scalps were also numb. If this is smashed down, it is estimated that the soldiers present will be finished. On Shichibukai's side, Haki and Shang still didn't change their expressions, they just looked up. Advertisement. On Brother Ming's side, because he lost his composure just now, who is coming? Whitebeard has no such ability. Whitebeard's destruction is okay, but asking him to float an island is simply impossible. Three Admirals' side, the loyal dog is already full of displeasure. Mishaps happened again and again from the very beginning. Kizaru pursed his lips, looked up at the slowly falling island above the sky. It was bigger than Crescent Bay, and couldn't help sighing. If it falls down, it will be a bit of a headache. Akainu, probably only your magma can destroy it. Aokiji turned his head and said, Kizaru, your 8-foot Chonguyu should be able to destroy it too. There is a high probability that there is no way. Kizaru evaded. Akainu in the middle wants to spray the two of them, because the battle is about to be so out of tune. But he remembered that when he was about to appear on stage, Aokiji was still sleeping, and Kizaru ran to nowhere, and it took a long time to find him. On the other side under the execution platform, Garp looked solemn. I didn't expect that guy to make do with it. As a more active Marine in the old days, Impu immediately thought of who it was. On the execution platform, Sengoku naturally also thought of who was coming, which made his face even more gloomy. Golden Lion, Shiki, he has such a powerful ability. Kaido can also do this, but Kaido will have a flame cloud. Furthermore, Kaido and Whitebeard have hatred, and it is impossible to join forces. Just as Sengoku et al. Guessed in their hearts 130, what came was the Golden Lion. Before the Golden Lion arrived, laughter arrived first. Ha 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 ha. He laughed. Sengoku, Garp, I'm back after so many years. But this time it's not just me, are you Marines ready for my revenge? As the island falls, the Golden Lion above and Sengoku far away on the execution platform look at each other. On the island, there are not only Golden Lion, but also Whitebeard, as well as other members of the group, Marco, Jazzy, etc. On the island, Whitebeard stepped forward with a big knife in his hand. He couldn't help but ask, have you taken care of my son? Behind him, Marco, Joes and the others all laughed and spoke. Ace, here we come. Take you home now. 1. On the execution platform, Ace looked at everything in front of him and felt shocked in his heart. The Whitebeard pirates are still here. Although there are many helpers, a big battle means sacrifice. Ace still yelled, Daddy, Marco, you shouldn't be here. I'm just a stubborn, stupid, and arrogant guy. Even though your father tried to dissuade me, I still insist on going my own way. People like me are not worth your risk for me. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Who cluck cluck cluck. Whitebeard stood up with a big knife in his hand, and said loudly, No. You are our family, and our Whitebeard pirates will not give up any family members. You say yes. Marco et al. Echoed later. Ace, you still owe me a bottle of wine. Quote. Ace looked at everything in front of him, recalled the past, bit his lips tightly, and the corners of his eyes flickered. Regret. Of course he regretted it, but if he had to make another choice, he would still fight Blackbeard, otherwise, Luffy would be in danger. The appearance of Whitebeard pirates and Golden Lion shocked the world once again. Great battle. I'm afraid this will be the largest war in history. Is the Whitebeard pirates lineup enough to level New World? At the same time, there is also an island floating above the vast sea. On the island, Kaido watched the battlefield on the screen, feeling extremely happy. When we come on stage, we will shock the world again. And Zephyr, Leaping Rabbit and Hina, who are also in front of the screen, have already arrived at Ultimate in astonishment. Monk just came out after washing, and when he saw the top lineup, he exclaimed, what a big scene. 11. Immediately, he said to Zephyr and the others, it's time for us to appear. Go fishing. Asterisk 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 go. Advertisement. Chapter 126. Is it the kid who caused the natural disaster? Advertisement. Battlefield. This time the top battle has undergone tremendous changes. The original Whitebeard pirates now have more red hair pirates. The red hair pirates are not enough, and Golden Lion and Rayleigh, two old-time powerhouses with absolute strength, are added. Needless to say, Rayleigh is a strong man who can still fight against Kizaru even in his old age. As for Golden Lion, after taking Shondo, his strength has also recovered a lot. Now that he meets Luffy, he might be able to hang Luffy up and beat him. The whole world feels that Marine is very suspenseful this time, and this deployment of Marine has actually made many people in the world unable to understand. What are the nearly 10,000 troops doing? Sengoku on the execution platform looked at Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Redhead, Rayleigh and others not far away with a cold face. Opposite, Whitebeard sneered, Sengoku, or give Ace to us. Below, the Redhead also smiled and said, yes, Sengoku. Or do me a favor and let Ace go, and we both leave. But how could Marine let people go? Leaving aside the meaning of Ace's identity and execution, even if Ace does not have the identity of Roger's son, Marine would not be able to release him under the condition of public execution. Once released, Marine's prestige in the hearts of people throughout the world will be greatly damaged, and its influence will also be greatly reduced. Furthermore, it is Sengoku's public execution this time, and in order to eliminate. Don't be wishful thinking. Ace's life experience is of great significance, and he will be executed today. And if you insist on going to war, our Marine will accompany you to the end. Sengoku's eyes became sharp, and he shouted, Giant Fort is ready. As his words fell, the soldiers on the square began to move. Off-screen in live broadcasts around the world, everyone was puzzled. What is Marine doing? Giant Fort. Where is it? Look at Marine's posture. Are you planning to conjure it out of thin air? Ha ha ha. I died from laughing. How is it possible? However, the audience's ridicule turned into an exclamation at the next moment. I'll go. Also, did it really appear out of thin air? My 3 views are about to shatter. What's the situation? Mystical item. I remember it was a magical item. Well, it seems to be called. It's called Universal Capsule, and a palm-sized Universal Capsule can hold an entire Marine battleship. Then what? Don't you know it's real or fake just by watching the live broadcast? On the screen, a group of Marine soldiers broke away from the queue and came to the front. Shichibukai couldn't help turning his head to look behind him. They have never seen the application of universal capsules in the war, and they saw Marine soldiers throwing universal capsules one by one under their curious eyes. The white mist appeared, and in the next second, the giant fort broke through the white garden and appeared in front of it. There are dozens of them, and the muzzles of the black holes are aimed at the enemies on the Crescent Bay ahead. If the magical item is used well, the value on the battlefield is really huge. Moria was moved. Not only in the square, but also on the surrounding walls of Crescent Bay, countless heavy artillery also adjusted their direction to face Crescent Bay, and then any door appeared, and Marine soldiers appeared continuously, and then released giant forts with universal capsules. That's why Sengoku is restocking. The free door and universal capsule can turn the away game into your home game, adding more advantages to the home game and making it even more unexpected. For the pirates, Golden Lion and Rayleigh had never seen the scene where Marine used magical items to fight, so they couldn't help being shocked. Is this what fighting is all about now? Rayleigh opened his eyes. It's been a long time. When first met Marine back then, if Marine could move out these big guys, I am afraid that they would not be able to successfully reach Raftel. Absolute home field advantage, even if it is a battle at sea, Marine can turn it into the home field, and then cover it with luck and firepower. You can take the initiative in an instant. Golden Lion also widened his eyes, war can still be fought like this. He even suspected that he had just come out of Impel Down and derailed from the world. But the surprise is the surprise, Golden Lion and Rayleigh have seen many big scenes, so they can calm down soon. Several giant cannons, do you have my island's calendar? Sengoku, you Marines have the guts to beat me to the ground, when no one maintains the island, your naval headquarters will also be history. Sengoku gritted his teeth secretly, this giant island is indeed a huge threat. Even if it is smashed, huge pieces will fall to the naval headquarters. Audiences all over the world were shocked by Marine's operation of using magical items, but now Marine is also facing a huge problem, that is, what to do with this island. Advertisement. Once Marine attacks, countless pieces will fall, and no matter which side will suffer. The pirates' move is really ruthless. I don't know how Marine will solve it. 3 admirals should also be difficult to solve this problem. The war had just begun, and the two sides fell into a strange stalemate. But Whitebeard came here this time to save people, and he won't keep stalemate. The big knife in his hand was stuck on the ground, and he said loudly, since I, Whitebeard, came to your naval headquarters, how can I not bring a gift? Come, I'll give you Marine a big gift. As he said that, in everyone's eyes, a halo appeared on Whitebeard's fists, which was the power of shock fruit. In the next second, Whitebeard's fist slammed directly to the two sides, and cracks appeared in the air on both sides. The terrible breaking force swept towards both sides, and suddenly the entire sea area around Marineford seemed to be shattered into countless pieces. Under the sweeping power, the sea areas on both sides set off monstrous huge waves. The huge waves were several hundred meters high, and surrounded the entire Marineford. On the execution platform, Sengoku's face was livid. Hexia. The Marine soldiers below looked at the monstrous tsunami, all of them were horrified. This has to be horrifying, even if Vice Admiral is swept in, it will be close to death. Outside the live broadcast, audiences all over the world felt their scalps go numb. Where have they seen such a terrifying scene? It's more natural disaster than natural disaster. This is the strength of the strongest man. Quote. Many viewers were sweating profusely and swallowed their saliva. Battlefield. 3 Admirals area. Aokiji stood up. Leave it to me. Yo. Got rid of you, Aokiji. However, Aokiji hadn't done anything yet. Suddenly the whole sky changed drastically, and the surrounding temperature also began to drop. What happened? Did you feel that the temperature dropped so fast? Both the Marine and the pirates felt the sudden drop in temperature, and there was white gas when they exhaled, which shows how terrifying the drop in temperature is. But under this extremely cold temperature, the stormy sea gradually froze into ice sculptures, frozen in the air. What's the situation? What's going on at naval headquarters? The terrifying tsunami was frozen. Has Marine Admiral made a move? No, you see that Aokiji Admiral hasn't acted yet. 012512429, 200,552,300. Then what's going on? Wait. This is a bit like the anomalous natural disaster that appeared in the Sabayati archipelago a few days ago. It's frost, it's ice. It's really the same as Sabayati archipelago. Is this also a natural disaster in Marineford? Everyone exclaimed again and again, thinking that Marineford was a natural disaster just like Sabayati archipelago. Marineford sighed. Whitebeard couldn't help frowning. No, it's not a natural disaster, it's an ability. The strong can see the difference between natural disasters and abilities. What is happening now is obviously Devil Fruit ability. Beside him, Golden Lion also frowned. It is indeed Devil Fruit's ability, but who would have such a terrifying ability? Only the awakened Devil Fruit can affect the surrounding environment. Different from Aokiji, Aokiji used his ability to release the ice from himself, and now this ability is more terrifying than Aokiji because it affects the surrounding environment. This kind of understanding made Golden Lion, a proud legendary pirate, not dare to take it lightly. Below, everyone in the Red Hair Pirates also felt that this was the ability of Devil Fruit. What a powerful Devil Fruit ability. On the bow, the Red Hair frowned. He couldn't help looking at Aokiji in the distance, and found that he was also surprised. If not Aokiji, who would it be? Isn't it from Marine? Otherwise, why would everyone in Marine be so surprised by this accident? Rayleigh's expression was extremely solemn. That mysterious man of Sabayati archipelago, has he appeared here? Advertisement. Rayleigh has been thinking about this question since before, and is it possible that the conquerors who surpassed the Red Hair and the awakened Devil Fruit are the same person? On the Marine side, Kizaru looked at the top of the sky. It was already a vast expanse of whiteness, and he couldn't see the situation clearly. He couldn't help but, yo, Aokiji, your Devil Fruit ability has awakened. Aokiji was speechless. He glanced at Kizaru and said, do you see what I did? Oh, that's really strange. However, one thing is certain, the Sabayati archipelago catastrophe a few days ago was not a natural disaster. Pipe. Akainu in the middle has been silent all the time, with piercing eyes under the tonarm. It seemed that I was right in thinking, it was that brat. On the execution platform, Sengoku watched the situation, frowning, his face noncommittal. As the frost continued to fall all around, the Crescent Bay was frozen into ice, and the entire Marineford seemed to have entered an extreme cold. Just when people all over the world thought it was a natural disaster, a golden flash appeared on the Crescent Bay, which was frozen with a thick layer of ice. The golden flash was extremely dazzling, as if illuminating the entire Marineford, which made all eyes look there. He was deeply surprised by the sudden golden light. Even Marine was in a daze. Sengoku's face is green on the execution platform. What's going on? Why do accidents happen again and again? What's going to happen this time? In front of the live broadcast screen, the audience was equally amazed by the sudden burst of golden light. Well, it's like, okay, it seems to be a door. Question marks all over the heads of the crowd. How can there be a door in the golden light? Originally Whitebeard appeared on the pirate ship with red hair. Rayleigh and Golden Lion joined the battle. Has something happened? On the battlefield, Marine executives and several captains of the pirates also saw that the golden light is a door. With the opening of the door, several figures appeared inside. Because the light was too dazzling, everyone couldn't see clearly who was coming. After a few people stepped out, the light of the golden arbitrary door dimmed, and everyone could see clearly. He ran as Monk and his 3 bodyguards. Monk was stunned when he saw the golden light just bursting out. This is the so-called golden light flash. Lousy made his debut. Monk. On the execution platform, Sengoku was so surprised that he directly called out Monk's name. You guy. The war concluded. Country is about to explode. Why is this guy out here? And what happened to the golden arbitrary door just now? It looks very high-end. But the most important thing is, was this B************ D-boy responsible for the accident in Marineford at this time? The answer is already obvious, but Sengoku is still a little hard to believe. Is his nephew already so strong? It's not about the awakening of the fruit, but even if Monk catches a devil fruit with its own awakening, he must have physical strength to support the consumption of awakening that affects the surrounding environment on a large scale. The rest of Marine were also stunned. They didn't expect Monk to appear. Yo, it's surprising, but it seems reasonable. Kizaru murmured. Akainu in the middle chuckled. Ah, I knew it. Looks like he guessed right. Aokiji scratched his head, feeling a little complicated. Own exclusive devil fruit ability, now surpassed by Monk. After that, when it comes to Bingbinguo, wouldn't people first think of Monk instead of his Marine Admiral? The so-called latecomers. Sengoku's scolding voice made people who didn't know Monk realize that the young man in front of him was Monk. Golden Lion and Rayleigh blurted out repeatedly, Monk. Golden Lion couldn't help but grinned, with madness in his eyes. This is Meng. This is the hope that he can regain his youth. Rayleigh exclaimed. I really didn't expect it to be a kid. Was it this kid who caused the Sabayati archipelago disaster, the one who surpassed the red-haired Conqueror's Haki, or was he? No. Impossible. In front of the live broadcast rooms around the world is also amazed. This boy is the Monk who changed Marine. Shin. Advertisement. Chapter 127. The whole world is dumbfounded. People are preparing for a big fight. You come fishing. Advertisement. Monk's high-profile appearance made the audience focus on him, and Sengoku's surprised roar made everyone in front of the live screen know that the young man who appeared was Monk. People all over the world are not surprised. It turns out that this young man is the Monk who made a splash a few days ago. Everyone's first impression of Monk is that he is young. Besides being young, he is also bold. Although there are still a few people behind, but if the 4 of them dare to stand on the Crescent Bay and face the double emperors and the 2 strong men from the old era, aren't they afraid of being shot to death? Young people, young and frivolous, normal. When you really experience the horrors of war, you will understand how stupid such behavior is. Didn't you see what happened to Sengoku in the back? Haha. I thought it was some kind of powerful guy at first, but I didn't expect it to be a little devil with a hair that hasn't fully grown yet. It's good to learn a lesson, so I won't be so arrogant. I'm afraid I can't tell the occasion. If I learn a lesson once, there will be no future. As a young man, he was so ostentatious, naturally many people looked uncomfortable. Coupled with the fact that it is still a war, Monk's behavior is undoubtedly to send death in the eyes of everyone. As for the Marineford vision, most people in the world think it is a natural disaster. Who would have thought that it was caused by Monk's devil fruit ability? People just like to judge people by their appearance, which is applicable in any world. But many people are also curious, what is this guy Monk doing? And the golden door just now is probably also a magical item. On-screen, Malindo battlefield. Monk walked out of the golden door, followed by Zephyr, Momosugi and Zephyr. Hina, who was behind, saw the location arranged by Monk, and everyone was dumbfounded. There was cold sweat on her forehead, and she bit the flu. Shao Kei, is it really good for us to appear here with such a big fanfare? Not to mention Hina, the rear admiral, and Momosugi, the leader of the vice admiral, also felt that Monk was a bit too much. If the pirates are violent, I'm afraid that Marine will not be able to help us in the first place. The strongest Zephyr in the middle did not say a word, always on guard against possible attacks. Monk chuckled lightly, with a relaxed face. It's okay, it's okay. As he spoke, he couldn't help but look at the huge Mobity, the redhead, Rayleigh, and the golden lion and Whitebeard on the island in midair. 790 inches. This kid is quite arrogant. Golden Lion's eyes moved slightly, and he said harshly. For him, a strong man in the old era, it was obviously a provocation for a junior in the new era to stare at him like this. I was so well protected by Marine, I don't know how dangerous this world is. As he said that, Golden Lion looked at Whitebeard. Whitebeard, I have already said that people in this era are too warm and forget the appearance of this world itself. It's all thanks to you 4 emperors who didn't do anything. Whitebeard glanced at the Golden Lion, but ignored him. There are only people like Golden Lion who think about fighting and killing all day long. The people behind were also surprised by the appearance of Monk. What is Monk doing? How dangerous it is to run directly to the front line. Is this too reckless? On the execution platform, Sengoku was extremely dissatisfied with his nephew's behavior. He couldn't help but yelled through the speakerphone. Monk, you are just messing around, go back and stay with me. Under the execution platform, he rarely showed worry on his face. Young minister, this little guy is too foolish. Worker. If caught by pirates, it will be troublesome. Garp's face was noncommittal. At this moment, his heart was in a mess, and he didn't answer E's question, but turned around and left. Crane glanced at Garp. Where are you going? Garp said softly, go to the execution platform. On the ice of Crescent Bay, facing Sengoku's scolding, Monk chuckled. Turning to Sengoku, he said, don't worry, I'm not here to fight. Seeing that he was still so loose, Sengoku gritted his teeth angrily, it was so irritating. Monk continued. I don't want to intervene in this war, so I won't make a move, of course. You pirates don't bother me. Advertisement. I'm here to fish. You do your own thing, and I do my own thing. Let's use water not to violate the river. Monk's words caused an uproar and shocked the audience again. Marine soldiers, you look at me and I look at you, and you are dumbfounded. Come fishing. Can you stop kidding me? Now in this special period, there are at least 100,000 people gathered here by the two sides, who are about to start a war, and under such circumstances, you tell us that they are here to fish. The soldiers and generals were all stunned, and Monk's operation made it impossible for them. Under the execution platform, in the position of the 3 admirals, Akainu in the middle couldn't help frowning slightly. Mokei's style of doing things is too his own way. Kizaru said, yo, I feel like I have to protect him. His idea is very simple, as long as he stays with Monk, he can catch more fish. On the execution platform, Sengoku was almost speechless by Monk's answer. Goddamn fish, is it time to fish? What if something goes wrong? Leaving aside the importance of Monk to Marine now, let's talk about the fact that he is his nephew. Sengoku doesn't want anything to happen to Monk. In front of the live broadcast, audiences from all over the world were also stunned. What did Sengoku's nephew say he was going to do? Okay, it seems that they are going to go fishing. Fishing. Is it true or not? Fishing in Crescent Bay now. Is this kid looking for death? Do you really think that the war is just a play? This guy. Most people in the world think that Monk is treating this battle as a joke. It's just a kid who has never experienced a cruel battlefield, coming out to mess around. This is a super war that is enough to be recorded in the annals of history. One can imagine how tragic it is. Even after this war comes to an end, the pattern of the world is likely to undergo tremendous changes. It is a big battle that affects the whole world. However, the big battle that everyone pays attention to, now a young man doesn't care about it. If he wants to fish in the big battle, the world must think that this guy is looking for death. At a young age, after accidentally acquiring the ability of Devil Fruit, his status rose to the sky. It was so well protected that it was too floating. 11. Above the sea, there are not many little devils like this. Wait and wait to see the scene where this kid cries in fright. In the eyes of everyone, Monk was reused by Marine because he was able to fish for magical items, and he was so well protected that he did such a thing without seeing the cruelty of this world. However, what they don't know is that although Monk has experienced fewer wars, every war is a major war, and he really sees it more clearly than people like them. Even when he was in the Golden City, Monk relied on his own charm to get the Golden Emperor to agree to sponsor him. Monk really didn't intend to participate in this war. After all, he just wanted to enjoy life, but he couldn't get the benefits from the system. He had to get them, otherwise he would feel uncomfortable. Ignoring what the people around were thinking, Monk said to the crowd, I just want to fish mine quietly. You pirates, don't bother me, and I, CJEE, will not deliberately attack you. In short, we don't violate the water of the river. On the Morbidity, the redhead glanced over at Rayleigh. Rayleigh also looked at him at this time, and after the two made eye contact, the redhead couldn't help but shook his head with a smile. This kid is really arrogant to the extreme, a bit arrogant. However, after seeing the awakening of Monk's devil fruit, red hair, Rayleigh and others will not easily move Monk first. Now their most important goal is to rescue Ace. If there is one less opponent, it is better to have one less opponent. Now that the Marine is boosted by magical items, it is very tricky in itself. On the island, Golden Lion looked unhappy. Whitebeard, young people nowadays are too arrogant, right? We old guys don't even feel like farts in the eyes of others. Whitebeard is also dissatisfied with Monk's actions. After all, as the strong men of the old era, the group of people who once stood at the top of the world pyramid are naturally upset when they are looked down upon by juniors like Monk. But Whitebeard has the same idea as the redhead, Rayleigh. Now the most important thing is not Monk, but Ace. After Ace is rescued, other things will be considered. For this reason, Whitebeard also deliberately reminded Golden Lion that other things should be put aside before Ace is rescued. Advertisement. Wait until after the ace is freed to loot the magical item, or even the monk. The Golden Lion, however, would not listen to Whitebeard. He looked at monk below who was fiddling with fishing equipment, and the more he looked, the more unhappy he became. Is the co-author really here to fish? Now that these old-time powerhouses are here, they really don't give any face. Sure enough, people in this era live in warmth and have never felt the ultimate fear. This kid, let me teach him a lesson. The more Golden Lion looked at Monk, the angrier he felt, so he said he planned to teach him a lesson. The Golden Lion raised his hand, and immediately a huge rock appeared above the sky. The rock broke through the white clouds and fell rapidly towards Monk. Shiki, UB****************. D. Sengoku on the execution platform gritted his teeth viciously. From this point of view, Golden Lion has many backs ready, not just the huge rock at the bottom of their feet. 3 Admiral watched the huge rock fall towards the direction of Monk, his pupils shrank involuntarily. Akainu in the middle suddenly got up with a shua. He wanted to make a shot, but it was too slow for him to make a shot at such a distance. Fortunately, there are Momosuke and Zephyr beside Monk. The main one is Zephyr, although the current Jifa has not recovered his youth. But the awakening of Devil Fruit has made his strength comparable to his peak self. Zephyr snorted coldly. Shiki, are you looking for death? As he spoke, Zephyr stepped forward, his body still surrounded by black mist. Zephyr planned to make a move to stop this huge rock. However, at this moment, Monk cast a glance at the Golden Lion on Sky Island, and said with a smile, you really are disobedient. You said you have to teach me a lesson, but do I have to teach you a lesson too? Monk's eyes began to turn red, and a powerful aura erupted from his body in the next second. The moment the breath exploded, black thunder appeared around Monk's body. Black thunder. The appearance of has shown what Monk's breath is, Conqueror's Haki. The Conqueror's Haki, which broke through to the god level and reached the unparalleled level, swept out, and the moment it touched the rock that the Golden Lion dropped, the huge rock stopped completely. In the shocked eyes of the audience, Monk's Conqueror's Haki shattered the huge rock that fell down. Now Monk's Conqueror's Haki has a terrible impact on the physical damage caused by the outside world. The huge rock was not broken, but was directly smashed into pieces the size of many grapes. As the breath swept through, these fragments went towards Golden Lion and the others. Monk's Conqueror's Haki stunned the audience, even Sengoku, the senior management of Marine. On the huge island, Golden Lion looked at the monk below in disbelief, with sweat pouring out of his forehead. Bah, Conqueror's Haki. This kid's Conqueror's Haki has reached such a pinnacle. Golden Lion's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets, he was extremely shocked. He couldn't believe it, the little ghost Conqueror's Haki in front of him surpassed him, no. Even the Roger Conqueror's Haki back then didn't reach this level. Originally, Golden Lion thought it was a brat whose fur hadn't fully grown yet, but he never thought that Monk was hiding so deeply. Whitebeard, what the hell is going on? During the discussion before, didn't you say that this kid's strength is not enough? Whitebeard himself was dumbfounded, how could he know what was going on? Even if Marine valued this little devil and tried their best to cultivate it, in their eyes, it was just like that, and there was no need to worry about it at all, because not long time has passed since Monk appeared. It's only been about 2 months, but Monk's strength is probably beyond imagination. It reminds Whitebeard of the Knights of Ayati Archipelago and the redheads went looking for Rayleigh. It's really this kid. Rayleigh's pupils constricted violently. With the top Conqueror's Haki, coupled with the awakening of Devil Fruit's ability, this young kid's strength has already entered the top ranks. The red-haired chest rose and fell violently, and he quickly shouted, Rayleigh, doctor. Use Conqueror's Haki together. The red-haired pupils appeared red, and the Conqueror's Haki appeared on his body in the next second. Under the entanglement of the Black Thunder, Dianguang's Haki broke out. Advertisement. Chapter 128 Monk's Top Conquerors. Thousands of people worship. Advertisement. After Monk broke out Conqueror's Haki, Redhead also used Conqueror's Haki for the first time. Around the red-haired body, Black Thunder appeared, flickering continuously, bursting with momentum. There is no way not to use Conqueror's Haki, otherwise, if Monk's Conqueror's Haki is so powerful and sweeps the audience, I am afraid that everyone on their side except the cadres will fall down. This Conqueror's Haki is so powerful. Under the horrified eyes of the audience, Monk's Conqueror's Haki collided with the red-haired Conqueror's Haki. There was a loud noise, and many people fainted in the aftermath of the collision. Without any suspense, Monk's Conqueror's Haki directly suppressed the red-haired Conqueror's Haki. Of course, there is no suspense. According to Monk's previous estimates, the red-haired Conqueror's Haki has reached the first half of the god level. The high level has gone a little bit, achieving the effect of instant suppression. At this moment, Monk's Conqueror's Haki was faintly golden. Rayleigh, hurry up, hurry up. The red-haired yelled, gritted his teeth, now he didn't care that Rayleigh was still a senior, and yelled at him to hurry up. What are you kidding? If you don't make a move, just wait until the game is over. Now he is intimidated by Monk's Conqueror's Haki and keeps retreating. Once Monk's Conqueror's Haki sweeps their side, what will this battle be like? Everyone kneels here. Redhead knows how scary it is to reach the top level in Conqueror's Haki. Only then did Rayleigh realize it later. At this time, there was sweat on his forehead, which was caused by the deep shock in his heart. It's terrible, this Conqueror's Haki is even more terrifying than Sabayati Archipelago felt at that time. But the main reason why Rayleigh lost his composure just now was because of the promotion of Monk Conqueror's Haki, which was too fast. The Sabayati Archipelago event is less than a month away, right? No. In less than half a month, how did Monk manage to improve Conqueror's Haki so quickly in a short period of time? Is it a magical item? No. If it's really a magical item upgrade, then all the top Marines now have top-notch Conqueror's Haki. But now there is no way to think so much, and the red hair must not be able to support it anymore. Not thinking about it anymore, Rayleigh gritted his teeth and burst out Conqueror's Haki in an instant. Although Rayleigh's Conqueror's Haki is not at the top level, it is not weak. However, he, who was once the deputy of One Piece, and the owner of the most powerful Conqueror's Haki, red hair, are still crushed by Monk. What? The redhead was completely shocked. I didn't expect that the Conqueror's Haki of both of them could not stand up to Monk's Conqueror's Haki. How did this kid cultivate? Rayleigh lost his composure and yelled loudly regardless of his demeanor. Hole. Are you still human? On the island, Whitebeard's serious expression turned to ultimate. The Conqueror's Haki, which is several times more terrifying than Roger. The strongest Conqueror's Haki in history is born. Whitebeard sighed, then couldn't help but look at Golden Lion. It was all this guy's fault. If it wasn't for this guy's recklessness, would Monk still make a move? Seeing that he had to make a move, the lipstick hair couldn't stand it. Drink. Whitebeard let out a roar, and immediately released his Conqueror's Haki. The top Conqueror's Haki of the three top powerhouses can withstand Monk's super fishy Conqueror's Haki. The four strands of Conqueror's Haki crazily collided in the air, and this scene was extremely shocking to watch. All the Marine soldiers widened their eyes in disbelief. It's hard to imagine that the boy who was beaten by Sengoku while fishing in the Crescent Bay port has grown up to be able to confront the top powerhouse on the throne after about 2 months. Is this still the Monk we know? It's really hard to imagine. Isn't Monk always very lazy? Even if there are magical items, it is impossible to do this. Is this the chosen one? Quote. The Marine officers and soldiers felt extremely complicated. Now the soldiers don't call Monk by Sengoku's nephew, but by his name. Advertisement. This speaks to Monk's increased influence in Marine today. He is no longer a young man who acquired good abilities because of a chance, and relying on his backing and opportunities to live and die in the Marine, but a real strong man. At the same time, under the influence of Monk Conqueror's Haki, everyone still has a feeling in their hearts. That is, the boy standing on Crescent Bay is no longer a boy, but an emperor who rules the world, the supreme overlord, the absolute monarch. Monk's figure becomes majestic and gigantic, as if he is overlooking the world. Conqueror's Haki is a man who has the qualifications to become a king. After reaching the peak, everyone will be affected. Unknowingly, on the square, those Marine soldiers actually knelt down. That's right, all kneel down. The same is true for the pirates. Under the confrontation of the four Conqueror's Haki, many people could not help but kneel down. Why? What's going on? Why can't I control my body? It feels like standing in front of that monk is a sin. Foot. The foot can't stand at all. On the pirate side, everyone also knelt down. Marco, Ben Beckman. The officers miraculously didn't yell at these kneeling subordinates, because they also felt the horror of Monk Conqueror's Haki. Even strong men like them, people with strong willpower, were affected at this moment. Each of them gritted their teeth and crazily resisted the influence of Monk Conqueror's Haki. If they all knelt down, then there would be no need to fight this battle, nor would Ace need to be saved. The morale of the army will inevitably be greatly affected. Behind Marine executives stared at all this in amazement. Yo, this kid is really amazing. Kizaru was extremely surprised. Is this guy Monk so powerful? Isn't this guy eating, drinking and having fun every day? At this moment, Kizaru has the feeling that the friends who usually eat, drink and have fun with him are the first in the whole grade after the exam. Just 2 words, uncomfortable. Akainu and Aokiji were equally surprised, but they didn't have much contact with Monk, so they didn't fluctuate as violently as Kizaru. Crane was surprised to ultimate, looking at Monk in the distance. Conqueror's Haki, who was fighting against 3 top powerhouses alone, for a while, she only felt that she was in a good mood. She bet right. She put Momosuke and Hina next to Monk. She finally bet right. Monk is so strong, it must be of great help to the future of Momosuke and Hina. Garp, who was halfway up the execution platform, froze on the spot, looking at Monk in surprise. My grandson is so strong now. Of course, the most shocking thing in the audience was Sengoku, the uncle of Monk. He only saw Monk take a shot once, and he was surprised by him defeating the 3 disasters in that one shot. Afterwards, he felt that Monk's strength improvement was already quite remarkable. However, what he didn't expect was that now Monk's strength had reached such an outrageous level. He has worked hard for so many years and has experienced countless lives and deaths. Only then did he have the strength he has now, and he was able to sit on the position of marshal. But what about Monk? Sengoku knows best. When he went to pick up Monk more than 2 months ago, he was still an ordinary person with no strength at all. Any seasoned soldier could easily knock him down, but now, in just over 2 months, Monk's Conqueror's Haki needs 3 sea powerhouses to join forces to resist. He seriously doubts whether Monk is still human now. It's simply a monster. Well, even if he was given an extra life, Sengoku felt that he might not be able to cultivate to the level of Monk himself. And what's going on with Wanman worshipping? In the square, even some vice admirals knelt down uncontrollably, and the pirates did the same. 90% of the people present knelt down to Mangdu. This kind of scene really shocked everyone's heart. Is this the effect that Conqueror's Haki has when it reaches Monk's level? Unconscious awakening can stun ordinary people, the higher the level, the more powerful people can be stunned, and then it can be wound, and so on. Now that it has reached the top Conqueror's Haki, it can actually make people the world surrenders to it. No wonder it is said that this is something that only those who have the qualifications of a king can awaken. Advertisement. The huge ice sculptures of sea waves outside naval headquarters began to shatter inch by inch, the clouds above the sky surged, and the entire sky seemed to have opened a huge hole. Under the wave of the four Conqueror's Haki, the impact of Bing Bing Fruit's ability awakening on the environment disappeared unconsciously. In front of the screen, everyone was shocked. Originally, everyone thought that Monk would be taught a lesson, but they never expected to see such a scene. Even the pirates knelt down for that boy. His name is Monk. One person forced 3 top pirates to take action. It can be said that no one in Marine has been able to do this in more than 800 years. Let's not talk about Marine, there was no such existence in the world more than 800 years ago. Monk is so young, wouldn't it be even more outrageous in the future? Can one person calm the whole sea? The people of the world were deeply shocked by this scene of Monk. They did not expect that this seemingly reckless young man was not reckless, not afraid of death, not young and frivolous, but that he had such capital and confidence. The major forces who were watching this live broadcast in the dark felt their scalps tingling. The dragon raised his eyebrows violently. The strongest person in the world was born. His heart was also full of apprehension. Although Monk said he didn't join Marine, he was still a member of Marine. After all, he had a relationship with Sengoku. If they help the world government to do things, how will their revolutionary army overthrow the world government? Kaido and Auntie, the 4 emperors opened their mouths wide, they were stunned by the monk on the screen and couldn't speak. Golden City. In the office of the building at this time has become a dangerous building. If it weren't for the support of the Golden Emperor with his ability, it would have already collapsed. Watching the live broadcast and seeing everyone kneeling inside, he couldn't help laughing out loud. It turns out that I'm not the only one who suffers such a shame. Ha ha ha, I'm not alone. At this time, the Golden Emperor laughed wantonly, gloating at those kneeling down. Humans are such a strange species, but only when they suffer, their hearts are filled with anger, but when they see other people suffering the same as themselves, they feel balanced. Scene, Whitebeard, Rayleigh and the redhead trio. The expression on his face turned serious to ultimate. Monk's Conqueror's Haki would take that long even for the 3 of them. In the middle of the sky, the huge island at the bottom of his feet couldn't bear the impact of the Conqueror's Haki, it shattered and fell into the air. Fortunately, Golden Lion was able to control the whereabouts of these debris, which did not cause a large number of casualties. Finally, after more than 10 minutes of stalemate, the 4 strands of Conqueror's Haki erupted, and then all disappeared. The redhead, Rayleigh, and Whitebeard backed away again and again. Although Monk said he took a few steps back, he still had a smile on his face. The huge mid-air island that threatened Marine had been torn into countless small pieces by him, which forced Golden Lion to land all the pieces on the ice of Crescent Bay. It can be said that Monk neutralized the huge threat of naval headquarters. Monk closed his hands, looked at the ugly faces of Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Red Hair and Golden Lion, couldn't help but sneered and said, "I believe you will not disturb me to continue fishing." Quote. The 4 Whitebeards were noncommittal and silent. Monk didn't need them to say anything, he started to return to his fishing equipment by himself, and then started fishing. Of course, you have to punch a hole in the thick ice beforehand, which is not difficult for Monk's current strength. He got 50 billion Baileys from the Golden Emperor, plus the double benefits this time, that is, he can fish 10 Fang Keto. In this way, after shocking the audience and even the whole world, Monk began to fish comfortably. This operation made people all over the world silent for 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, Sengoku took a long breath, calmed down and shouted, "Fire!" As for whether the firing will affect Monk, Mud Horse. Now you still care about Monk. This guy's strength is even stronger than him, and he will definitely not die. The soldiers were all well trained. After hearing the order, they immediately adjusted their emotions, got up from the ground, and then started to fire. The muzzle of the black hole suddenly ejected fire snakes. *********. Corpse. Advertisement. Chapter 129 The first god-level fishing is released. Advertisement. Under Sengoku's order, the soldiers quickly adjusted their emotions and began to fire artillery. On the scaffold, Sengoku was very happy. Monk did a good job. Firstly, it solved the problem of Golden Lion using his ability to get an island. Second, Monk confronted the Conqueror's Haki of the 3 powerhouses by himself, which greatly improved Marine's Conqueror's Haki. Hey, this kid, Sengoku smiled. He said that he would not help, but in fact, he helped himself a lot by appearing on the stage. Next, it's time for him to show off in front of Monk as his Commander-in-Chief Marine. Can you let Monk, a junior, steal his limelight? Sengoku guessed why Monk made such a high-profile appearance. In fact, he should have guessed. For these strong players, the high-profile appearance is undoubtedly a provocation to them, not to mention that Monk is just a kid with no hair in their eyes. This dissatisfaction will deepen, and someone will inevitably take action against Monk. Monk took the opportunity to solve the problem of floating islands and boost morale. I have to say that this guy Monk racked his brains not to join the army. But the more you don't want to join the army, the more lousy wants to entrust Marine to you. Sengoku thought. While Sengoku was thinking about this, successive shelling sounds sounded. This is Marine's home field, and there are a lot of heavy artillery. Now with the deployment of arbitrary doors and universal capsules, the artillery coverage is comprehensive. It can be said that as long as it is not intercepted, one round is enough to cause heavy losses to the pirates. However, the artillery fire is still not enough for the ability users. Golden Lion intercepted most of them by using the island fragments that had just been shattered. Others also showed their abilities. Everyone, go to the island, Whitebeard shouted. It just so happened that Crescent Bay was frozen to give them a chance. As long as they entered the square, they would be able to get closer to the execution platform. The pirates jumped off the ship and rushed towards the port under heavy artillery fire. Those artillery fires are not under their control, just let the strong ones who can intercept them be responsible. Although it is said that there are many strong people on the pirate side, each showing their special abilities, some of them were not intercepted, and they were blown up in the crowd, and screams rang out immediately. Of course, the pirates also counterattacked, but with limited universal capsules, their firepower can't be compared with Marines, so it can be ignored. Furthermore, the focus of their deployment is not here. George, the captain, took the lead, just as a giant shell was blasting towards him. He didn't dodge or dodge, and directly used his body to catch it. The soldiers were surprised and delighted at the same time, but the next second they saw George, who was not damaged at all. As the strongest shield of the Whitebeard pirates, he is not afraid of artillery fire at all. He sneered, "Are you tickling me? Since that's the case, I'll pay you back." Joe's directly inserted his palms into the ice, lifted a huge ice cube, and smashed it down towards the crowded place of Marine. This scene shocked the soldiers. And at this moment, a golden flash appeared, directly smashing the huge ice cube into pieces. Admiral Kizaru, he pouted Ming and said to Josie, "If you smash the skin, it will be a little troublesome." As he said that, his whole body began to burst into golden flashes, Bachi Chong Guyu. Kizaru is like a dazzling golden star in the sky, and in the next second countless flashes think of the pirates falling. At this time, Marco rushed out from the pirate side, his hands turned into wings, and he went straight to Kizaru's attack at an extremely fast speed. Then directly resist all of Kizaru's attacks and defuse them. "Yo, Marco." Kizaru looked at Marco and couldn't help but mutter. Marco also looked at Kizaru, sneered and said, "If your attack falls, we will also feel a headache." After finishing speaking, Marco's figure flashed again, and went straight to Kizaru. In Kizaru's unexpected eyes, he had already come to Kizaru, and then kicked him down. Immediately, Kizaru turned into a golden light and hit his own building. On Monk's side, he was watching the battlefield with knowledge and knowledge while fishing. Although his all-purpose experience points are not added to the knowledge color, observation Haki is a bit weak, but it is still enough. This classic scene of Kizaru is seen again. By the way, this guy is really acting, right? Advertisement. At this moment, an outrageous scene appeared. Kizaru, who had just been kicked upside down, turned into golden light spots and gathered in front of Monk and the others, and finally gathered into Kizaru. Kizaru put it in his pocket, said, "Yo," to Monk, and then asked, "What level of fishing are you doing this time?" Monk called it a good guy, and after taking a shot, he went straight to see the fish. Zephyr, Momosugi and Hina all turned green. Hello Admiral. Still fighting. The battle entered a fierce stage in an instant, and Marine also began to rush down towards Crescent Bay. At the same time, at the beginning, it was considered by the world that the deployment of Marine was not enough and the number of personnel was too small. This was also the deployment of Marine. One after another random doors began to appear in all directions of Crescent Bay, and as one door after another opened, many Marine soldiers rushed out from inside and surrounded the pirates. This made the audience in the live broadcast room exclaimed again and again. At the same time, the appearance of Dianguang also made everyone's scalps tingle. I saw a group of strong generals constantly slashing with lightning pills with all their strength. With the blessing of advanced sword skills, every knife needs to be resisted by a captain-level powerhouse. Ordinary pirates can't resist it at all. It can be said that each knife can take the lives of more than a dozen pirates. Once you are tired, you can directly take Shondo to replenish your strength. This is still inspired by Sengoku's operation on Ghost Island before Monk. People outside the live broadcast room were immediately paralyzed. The co-author Janao is really a Chinese cabbage now. The appearance of this knife will probably make those who practice swordsmanship cry together. I just practiced swordsmanship, and now I want to cry. It's outrageous, the damage of each knife is too terrifying. And if you're tired, you can eat that bean directly to recover. That is a magical item, it seems to be called Shondo. I heard that it can not only heal injuries, but also restore physical strength quickly. That is to say, as long as there are enough fairy beans, it will be a perpetual motion machine. This kind of battle directly refreshes the three views. At this moment, everyone fully saw the heaven-defying function from the magical item. On the fence of the square, the corners of Hawkeye's mouth couldn't help but twitch. No way, Dianguang itself is a huge blow to Janao. Hawkeye decided not to watch anymore. The more he watched, the more upset he became. The war is in full swing, but apart from the war, most people in the world are also paying attention to Monk. No way, Monk's position is really prominent, and the chaotic battlefield doesn't affect him at all. Within a radius of 500 meters around Monk, no pirate dared to pass by. As if the area on his side was an absolute forbidden area. Monk was so bored waiting, he didn't expect that god-level fishing would be so difficult. However, it was a similar situation before. Every time the system unlocked a new level, it would take a long time for the first time, and then the time would be shorter each time. Now primary fishing, intermediate fishing, and advanced fishing can already achieve instant fishing. Battlefield. The three admirals all made their moves one after another. Although Marine has many masters, it still seems a bit weak in the face of the double royals and the two strong players from the old era. What's more, Kizaru, the admiral, touches the fish from time to time, and comes to see if Monk has caught it. Fortunately, there is artillery suppression, otherwise Marine will be suppressed. As the first Marine Sengoku, he cannot leave the execution platform now, he is the last line of defense. It would be bad if pirates stole the house after leaving the execution platform. Akainu and Whitebeard soon faced each other. Whitebeard couldn't help but sneered. Blow out the candles, kid, it's a pity not to go to the birthday party and blow out candles for people. Akainu's expression was indifferent, he shot directly without talking nonsense to Whitebeard. He wants to see how far his current strength has improved. Undoubtedly, the confrontation between the strongest admiral in Marine and the captain of the strongest pirate group today has attracted many people's attention. Even Monk couldn't help turning his head to look directly. Akainu took the lead in attacking, the dog bites the red lotus. Advertisement. Lava surged out of his whole body, and the magma turned into a huge magma dog, which fell towards Whitebeard. The corners of Whitebeard's mouth raised, and Kong Yunchi danced in his hands, spinning and whistling. Shake the knife. The name of Whitebeard's move is simple, and the big knife he swung slashed down suddenly, and a halo of light that belonged to shock fruit appeared on the tip of the knife. Whitebeard's knife collided with Akainu's magma hugely, directly chopping up Akainu's attack, and the magma sprayed all over the place, melting the ice. However, Whitebeard's pupils shrank, he didn't notice Akainu's figure, this guy was gone. With a flash in his eyes, Whitebeard suddenly slashed back with the big knife in his hand. Akainu has appeared behind Whitebeard, he is flexible in midair, as if he could fly. There is a spinning propeller above his head. What's that? Golden Lion frowned. How do you feel that you have the same ability as yourself? Flying is a very rare thing in this world. After the Golden Lion got the lion fruit back then, his heart burst into ecstasy. However, now that Akainu wears a magical item on his head, he can indeed fly easily. If there are many of these things, wouldn't everyone be able to fly? After Akainu used the bamboo dragonfly to come to Whitebeard's back, a lightning pill suddenly appeared in his hand and fell towards Whitebeard. The knife that appeared out of nowhere surprised the world again and again, and they didn't know what was going on. How can you conjure a knife out of thin air? Dianguang collided with Kong Yunchi, and Akainu himself was a strong man, coupled with the blessing of advanced saber skills, directly made Whitebeard stand backward for a certain distance. Actually fell into a disadvantage. Whitebeard frowned slightly. Blow out the candle, kid, how did your knife appear? Akainu said coldly. The dead don't need to know too much. With that said, he slashed with the knife again, while using Conqueror's Haki to wrap around. Not to be outdone, Whitebeard also used Conqueror's Haki to wrap around. Dianguang collided with Kong Yunchi, immediately forming a classic mid-air strike, and the Conqueror's Haki confrontation wave will form a torrent of power between the two sides. At the same time, above the sky, the clouds that had slowly gathered again surged up again, and a huge crack appeared. Akainu stopped after failing to attack, and the knife in his hand disappeared again, so he directly used the Devil Fruit ability. Then given the chance, Lightning Ball appeared in front of Akainu again and launched a sword attack on Whitebeard. Under the flexible change of 1.3 Akainu, Whitebeard was finally stabbed in the abdomen by Akainu. This made him spit out a mouthful of blood immediately. Everyone around was shocked, Marco, Joes. The expressions of Whitebeard pirates and others changed dramatically. On the execution platform, Ace yelled, Dad. With the combination of Akainu's use of various magical items, his attacks are unpredictable, making it hard to guard against. It makes sense that Whitebeard would lose. Outside the screen of the live broadcast room, everyone in the world was also amazed. Akainu can conjure things out of thin air every time, which is too puzzling. Is this also a magical item? Are there any bad things about magical items? How do you feel that each item is a heaven-defying artifact? Whitebeard, who was stabbed with a knife, stepped back again and then covered his wound. Without any hesitation, he stopped fighting Akainu. After opening a certain distance, Whitebeard quickly took the fairy bean. Immediately, the wounds on his body healed immediately, and the damage caused by Akainu's knife was completely gone. Such a battle is really beyond imagination. It's amazing. Marine has magical items, it's not a star and a half. Everyone couldn't help looking at Monk. Monk was still fishing, but he had already started yawning. And at this moment, the fishing rod moved, which immediately woke up Monk. Here we come. With the sound of the system in Meng's mind, the first god-level fishing is about to be released. Advertisement. Chapter 130. The whole world is confused. What do you do with Roger's body? Advertisement. The improvement of Akainu's strength, coupled with the strangeness of the magical item, made him stab Whitebeard directly in the abdomen. In the original storyline, Dad was scarred and had old diseases on his body, and Akainu was about 50-50. However, now that Whitebeard's old diseases were cured by Shondo, and he was in good physical condition, he still lost to Akainu. The discount shocked everyone present. The once strongest man is a little weak now. At this time, Monk felt that Marine Admiral's combat power had reached the Imperial level. No. Kizaru and Aokiji should not have reached the Imperial level. In Monk's mind, the voice of the system sounded. Congratulations to host for obtaining the Master Servant sticker of the Myriad Realms item, Master Servant sticker, double benefits. Congratulations to host for obtaining the Myriad World item, Time Wrap skin. 2 props are being improved. The 2 god level props are props that have not appeared before, so the system needs to be improved. Although the battle was going on in full swing, but after seeing Monk's finish, most of the strong players paid attention to Monk's side. Even on the execution platform, Sengoku, who dominated this big battle, put part of his energy on Monk. There must be a reason why Monk chose to go fishing in Dada this time. Otherwise, according to Monk's usual personality, why would he choose to fish here at this time? So Sengoku was very concerned about it. Once Monk catches something good, Marine can also use it. Regardless of the fact that Marine now has magical items to upgrade, but facing the double emperors and 2 strong men from the old era, it still seems a bit stretched. Akainu fought against Whitebeard, and with the help of the high-level universal capsule, he suppressed Whitebeard with various unpredictable moves. However, as the man who stood at the top of the world after Roger, Whitebeard is very difficult to kill, and what's more, there are some fairy beans on Whitebeard inexplicably. This allows him to recover when he is injured, so as not to worsen the situation of the battle. Sengoku also didn't think about the source of those fairy beans. Once the range of fairy beans spreads, it will be very difficult to control. It will flow out, that's for sure. Marine's advantage lies in being able to monopolize the source of fairy beans, and this source is Monk. On Kizaru's side, he's fighting the Redhead. Originally, Redhead was stronger than Kizaru, because Kizaru relied too much on Devil Fruit, and Kizaru would not use Conqueror's Haki in the province, but after the upgrade of magical items, Kizaru and Redhead are now 50-50. If he is more serious, there is a high probability that he will be able to gain a little upper hand. Aokiji played against Rayleigh, and the 2 were also split 50-50, so there was a gap for Golden Lion. Golden Lion originally wanted to take Monk directly, but was just frightened by Monk's Conqueror's Haki, so he gave up and rescued Ace first, and the rest will be done. However, Golden Lion was intercepted by Hawkeye, and the 2 sword masters started a battle. Marco took the opportunity to fly away, straight to the execution platform, which made Sengoku frown on the execution platform. Shoot him down. Countless bullets and gunfire hit Marco's body, but they didn't cause any damage to him, not even blocking him. However, at this moment, Seraphim's Snake was dispatched, and she was seen holding an electric light pill in her hand, splitting towards Marco. The saber air exploded along with the black thunder, sweeping back towards Marco. Marco is shocked. This is Conqueror's Haki. This little girl used Conqueror's Haki directly. In front of the live broadcast, the crowd was also extremely shocked. In their eyes, the weak girl was obviously something to be sent to death, but she showed Conqueror's Haki. It can be said that in this battle, Conqueror's Haki flew across, Marine and Admiral, and the pirates all used Conqueror's Haki. This made everyone present feel that Conqueror's Haki is really a bad street. But any individual will, but they don't seem to be able to. Mystical items really change the world. If you give Marine some time, will every Marine be able to release Conqueror's Haki in the future? Don't doubt that it's very possible, maybe even Marine's pets, such as dogs, goats, etc., may awaken Conqueror's Haki. This is the most incomprehensible battle I have ever seen. At this moment, the world began to realize that Monk's magical items really brought the era into a new era. And with this strength, the upper limit of the strong will be further raised, allowing the world to actively produce more super strong. At this time, on Monk's side, the improvement of the 2 Myriad Realms props has finally been completed. Monk looked at the system introduction, and saw the introduction of Master Servant stickers. Master Servant sticker, the user can control a person by pasting the servant sticker behind him. Advertisement. After reading it once, Monk understood that it is equivalent to putting a servant sticker on a person to change a person's thinking. The other person's own consciousness and memory will not be changed, but instinctively, he will still obey the master's instructions. Order. The only premise is that the master's Conqueror's Haki must be stronger than the servant's, otherwise the servant will get rid of the control and return to freedom. For such restrictions, Monk directly ignored, because in today's world, who can have a Conqueror's Haki stronger than him? Anyone present, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Rayleigh, even Redhead, all of them have Conqueror's Haki weaker than Monk. Monk can control whoever he wants to control. Monk can't help but find it interesting that anyone who wants to be his own can be his own. For example, let Rayleigh fight the red hair one-on-one, or let the red hair release Conqueror's Haki to shock his crew. But the most interesting of them is to let Whitebeard shoot his own crew. What kind of scene would that be? Must be fun. However, when Monk saw the introduction of Time Wrap skin later, Monk changed his mind. This is the second prop from the system's double benefits, and the function of this Myriad Realms prop is also very heaven-defying. Anyone can be resurrected, as long as it is anything that was in that person's body before, such as cell samples, bones, or blood, etc. This made Monk gasp. Amazing. Doesn't that mean that anyone can be resurrected? After all, after a person dies, there will definitely be bones left behind. Of course, it is another matter if they are buried in the sea. Monk suddenly doesn't want to control Whitebeard and others. That's so boring. If you want to control, you have to control Rocks, the once overlord of the sea. Thinking of this, Monk quickly asked Zephyr Marine if he had anything from Rocks, such as blood samples or bones. However, the answer I got was very disappointing, because there was no. Defeating the Rocks pirates back then didn't kill him completely. The other party disappeared after being severely injured. Otherwise, how could Marine not have publicly executed such the worst person? Monk thought about it for a while. Rox, as a lawless guy back then, still took the initiative to kill celestial dragons. If he was caught, he would definitely be executed publicly. In this way, doesn't it mean that if Rox is not dead, he is still alive in a certain corner of the world? But Monk doesn't care about this, since it won't revive Rox. Speaking of public executions, Monk immediately thought of a person. That person not only started the Age of Discovery, but also indirectly led to the outbreak of the Summit War. One Piece, Roger. The man who has traveled the whole world. What if you bring Roger back to life and let him fight for Marine? It's exciting just thinking about it. Monk hurriedly asked Zephyr if he had anything from Roger. For this Marine, there is one. The body was not buried but kept in the laboratory, in order to study the secret of Haki, a very powerful overlord color on Roger. Monk didn't want to hear this. He hurriedly asked Zephyr to go to the laboratory to take out Roger's body. This made Zephyr completely confused. Take out Roger's body. What does Monk want with Roger's body? Do you want to flog the corpse in front of Roger's son to stimulate Ace? I don't have enough authority right now, so I can't go back to the lab. Zephyr said helplessly. Now he is no longer a Marine Admiral, not even an instructor, that is, a Marine field officer who protects Monk. Monk is speechless, now who needs permission to enter and exit a place? Without answering Zephyr's question, Monk directly took out the golden arbitrary door. The golden arbitrary door will not burst out with bright golden light when it is not in use, only when it is in use. Zephyr understood what Monk meant after seeing Monk take out any door, which made him a little dumbfounded. Monk, is this really good? If Sengoku takes the blame. It's okay. Not only will he not blame us later, but he will also keep praising us. Monk laughed. This made Zephyr, Momosuke and Hina look at each other. Isn't Monk doing less unreliable things? However, after following Monk for so long, Zephyr still chose to believe in Monk, stepped forward, and immediately opened the golden arbitrary door. Immediately, a bright golden light burst out from the golden arbitrary door, and the golden light shone across the audience. Advertisement. This made both Marine and pirates in the battle look at Monk to see what happened. Seeing the golden arbitrary door being opened again, Golden Lion couldn't help being surprised. Is Monk going to run? The pirates under his command are all drunk. It's not like you haven't seen the Conqueror's Haki that the boss just broke out on Monk. One person is worth 3 people. Now that Monk is powerful, he should be thankful that he didn't make a move. Do you still think he will run away? Whitebeard, Rayleigh, and the redhead got rid of the people who were fighting with each other, stepped back and looked towards Monk. They were a little apprehensive, wondering what Monk was going to do again, and would there be any other moths. After seeing how powerful Monk is, Whitebeard and others will pay special attention to Monk's troubles. On the Marine side, the 3 admirals, and the generals, including Sengoku, none of them understood what Monk was going to do. In the golden light, people soon saw Zephyr appearing again, holding a huge container on his body. People watching from all over the world also have question marks on their heads. What is that strong man holding? What kind of strong man? He is the former Admiral Zephyr. Zephyr is holding a container in his hand, and there is a person in it. That's right. It's a person. It feels so scary. Marine is doing experiment 393. Amidst the people's discussion, some old people soon saw who was in the container, and opened their mouths. That's Roger. Battlefield. After the golden light disappeared, many people present also saw clearly who was in the container, One Piece King Roger. The man who once climbed to the top of the world. Whitebeard's pupils contracted, and he said in a low voice, Roger's body. You Marines have kept Roger's body buried for so many years. Golden Lion was furious. That was a man recognized by Lousy. Marine disrespected Roger so much, and also disrespected him, the Golden Lion. Golden Lion was furious, and Rayleigh's face was also covered with haze after seeing the dead body of his old friend. Roger. If he didn't see it before, Rayleigh could ignore it, but after seeing it now, Rayleigh couldn't ignore it. The same is true for the red hair, and now they have an additional purpose, which is to snatch Roger's body. But what puzzled them the most was, what did Zephyr want to take out Roger's body? Marine here. 3. Admiral looked bewildered, fighting well, what are Monk and others doing? Why take out Roger's body for no reason? On the execution platform, Ace looked at his father in the container, whom he had only met in photos before, feeling extremely complicated. R.O. Roger. That's his father. It's a pity that it's just a cold corpse now. Sengoku next to the execution platform, his face turned green. Zephyr, Monk, what are you 2 guys doing? What do you do with Roger's body? As a strong man, Roger's body is very valuable for research, but this is not the key point. The key is to take out Roger's body in a good manner and what to do. The appearance of Roger's corpse shocked the battlefield and even the world. On the Beitu continent, all the top leaders of the Revolutionary Army watched the changes in the battle situation on the screen with a look of bewilderment. It's impossible to predict. Various accidents happen. Sabo couldn't help looking at the dragon above him, the commander of the Revolutionary Army, and asked, Commander, shall we go? Long pondered for a moment, then said in a deep voice, No. Vegapunk is currently providing us with engraved magical items. Let's accumulate strength first. At the same time, on the island floating in the sea, Jack also asked Kaido this question. Kaido pondered for a moment and then said, let's see what Monk is going to do with Roger's body. Advertisement. Chapter 131 The world is shocked, Roger is resurrected. Advertisement. Monk's approach undoubtedly made the world very puzzled. They didn't understand why they suddenly moved out the corpse of One Piece King Roger. Monk, however, ignored everyone's astonishing gazes, and Monk pretended not to hear even Sengoku's questioning on the execution platform just now. He directly said to Zephyr, "Take Roger out of the container, you don't need to be gentle, just smash it out." Zephyr glanced at Monk, and didn't care anymore. He directly put the huge container on the ground, the glass of the container shattered, and there was an unknown liquid inside, and Roger's body. Seeing this scene, the audience once again exclaimed. The eyes of Rayleigh and the red hair became serious. The redhead said in a low voice, "Zephyr, Monk. Is it not good for you to treat the dead like this? Even if he is a big villain in the eyes of you Marines, after he dies, the previous things will be over." When the redhead was young, he received a lot of care from Roger, and he had a lot of affection for Roger. Rayleigh and Roger are life and death brothers, with anger on his face. "Monk, being young doesn't mean you can do whatever you want." Golden Lion was even more furious. Back then, he entered the Marineford battle alone for Roger, and was eventually imprisoned in Impel Down. Now seeing Roger's body being treated like this again, the anger in my heart soared again. With 2 knives in his hands, Deadwood and Sakura 10, he went towards Monk, who wanted to bring Roger's body. Momosuke and Hina moved immediately, they wanted to stop Golden Lion. Now Momosuke has also awakened Conqueror's Haki, and with the lightning pill in her hand, and the improvement brought by the stamina pill, she can already wrestle with Admiral, and she really doesn't have to be afraid of Golden Lion. As for Hina, I won't say much about it. After all, her original strength was only at the level of Rear Admiral, and now she is probably in the ranks of Admiral candidates. However, Monk sneered and said, "You don't need to do it." I said, "We don't take part in the war, but don't bother me either. Golden Lion, you have provoked me several times, it seems that the lesson is not enough." When Monk spoke, the faint red in his pupils had burst out, and then the Conqueror's Haki, who ruled the world and looked down on the common people, burst out again. Slightly swept towards the Golden Lion with a golden breath. Golden Lion's double knives wrapped around Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki is not just you alone. He roared, and the light in his pupils must be revealed. Double swords flow, the sea is dry and the stone is rotten. The Golden Lion's double sword slashed at the Conqueror's Haki that swept towards Monk, and the instant it touched, it appeared through the air. Conqueror's Haki is a standard configuration for waves. The clouds above the sky are violently churning. Today, I don't know how many times they have churned. This makes the weather in Marineford extremely unstable, but with so many strong players here, what can the situation be like? Monk's powerful Conqueror's Haki was not able to kill Golden Lion in a flash. He gritted his teeth, held on firmly, and his eyes were determined. Monk, lousy as the Golden Lion, lousy as the Sea Lord of the Old Age. Black thunders intertwined and appeared continuously, exploding in the surroundings, causing potholes to appear in the surroundings. The marine powerhouses and pirate powerhouses present were all surprised. Golden Lion's Conqueror's Haki went one step further. Haki's practice can only be grown by constantly challenging the limit. Golden Lion was furious at this moment, and fought against Monk's powerful Conqueror's Haki, which made his Conqueror's Haki go one step further. Monk chuckled. "Golden Lion, congratulations. Then shouldn't you thank me? It's a pity that Conqueror's Haki is so much better than me." Monk broke out Conqueror's Haki again, this time even if the Golden Lion Conqueror's Haki has been promoted, no matter how determined he is, it will not help. The Conqueror's Haki swept towards him, his body suffered tearing pain, and finally he spit out blood from his mouth, and fell to the ground abruptly. Monk realized what he thought 2 months ago, that Conqueror's Haki alone was enough to defeat opponents without a shot. Now 2 months later, he did it. Although it is impossible to do heavy damage, it is enough to be able to defeat. The whole audience was silent, and each strong man looked at Monk, full of sighs in his heart. Haki wants to reach the pinnacle, all relying on constant life and death battles, constantly challenging the limit and practicing. However, these people walked for most of their lives, and the Conqueror's Haki, who had been tempered from countless ghost gates, was easily crushed by a young man. It is impossible not to be sad, not to be sad. Even on Marine's side, the mood is a bit complicated. Monk is simply the protagonist of this era. Although Golden Lion said he vomited blood, his injuries were not too serious, but he looked so embarrassed after being hit by Monk. Advertisement. Efforts have become a joke in front of Monk. Monk restrained his Conqueror's Haki, and in the eyes of the audience, he came to Roger's body. None of the people present now dare to say no. The red hair and Rayleigh were the same. Although they were angry, if they really angered Monk, they might lie on the ground like Roger later. The dead are worthless, and now the main purpose is to rescue Ace. The value of living people will be greater. In the eyes of the audience, Monk came to Roger's corpse, because it was preserved by an unknown liquid. Roger's corpse was not so scary. Don't know if it's formalin or not, but that doesn't matter. Monk disliked Roger's sticky body, he disliked it, he took Roger to the open space beside him, and after using the ice fruit ability to get rid of the viscous liquid in his hand. Only then did Monk take out the time wrapper from the system. The time wrap leather looks like a tablecloth, the overall front is red, the back is blue, and there is a clock pattern on it. Monk remembers that the pattern on it seems to be rotating. The people present saw Monk take out something similar to a tablecloth, and suffered again. What is that? I don't know, but it can be guessed that it should be a magical item. There is a high probability that it is the magical item that Monk just fished out, but I don't know what kind of function it will have. Who knows? Holding Roger's body, I really don't see what to do. Marine soldiers and pirates talked about each other. Among the crowd, Moria raised her eyebrows and guessed, could it be that Roger is going to be turned into a zombie? He has such ability, so he thought of this at the first time. Hancock, Haki, none of the other Shichibukai spoke. Because they can't guess what Monk is going to do. Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Redhead and Golden Lion, everyone's eyes twinkled. They want to stop it, but they don't have that kind of strength. What will Monk do with Roger? 3 Admiral noncommittal. Akainu had a guess in his mind, but this guess was quickly denied. Because if it's what he thinks, then the person Monk shouldn't choose is Roger. Crane, Sengoku on the execution platform. In fact, they all have the same guess in their hearts, that is resurrection. Resurrection is no stranger to them, Shondo was able to do it before. So the possibility of resurrection is very high, but if it is really a resurrection, why did Monk choose Roger? Doesn't this add an enemy to Marine? Roger was like a smoke bomb, making it impossible for everyone to guess what Monk was going to do for a while. The strong can't guess, let alone people from all over the world. They didn't even know what Monk was holding. A magical item, but there was no mention of such an item in the newspaper a few days ago. In a pair of eyes, Monk covered Roger's body with the time wrap skin in his hand. As the hands of the patterned clock on the wrapper rotated, after a few seconds, movement began to appear in the time wrap. The whole audience was stunned. Still moving. The corpse moved. Did the mud horse cheat the corpse? FKU, don't you forget that one of Monk's magical items has a resurrection effect. I'm afraid it's to revive Roger. All the strong men present were stunned and complicated, staring at the covered Roger. With the disappearance of the clock pattern on the time wrapper, the wrapper completely lost its original ability and turned into a piece of white cloth. The movement under the white cloth was getting louder and louder, which made the whole world hold its breath, and the heart rose to the throat. The next second, just as everyone thought, Roger lifted the white cloth and started doing it suddenly. However, the moment he got up, Roger immediately coughed, coughing so violently that he sprayed bright red on the white cloth. The audience was amazed at ultimate. At the same time, an exclamation like a landslide broke out. "RO, Roger is resurrected." At this moment, the whole world is fried. Advertisement. The whole world is shocked. The man who once conquered this sea, the man who knew the truth of everything in this world is resurrected. This man is known as the King of Pirates because of his one sentence that led to the beginning of an era. Gall D. Roger resurrected again. Whitebeard took a breath, his eyes full of vicissitudes. Roger appeared alive. Rayleigh felt a sense of unreality, looking at Roger in the distance, as if going back in time, back to the days when we had adventures together. The red-haired Shanks touched the top of his head and found that his hat was missing, and then realized it belatedly, and couldn't help but smile. "Captain, I found the man who inherited the hat. That kid is very similar to you. He said what you said." Golden Lion immediately swept away the decadence just now, revealed a fierce look, and said with a grinning smile, "Roger. Our battle is not over. Today we finally meet again." The pirates looked at the king among the pirates, and their hearts were stirred up. Marine soldiers, the soldiers don't understand. What does Monk want to resurrect Roger? Monk's uncle is Sengoku, shouldn't he help Marine? Yo, Roger, I really have to. When I met him, I was a vice admiral. Times have changed, Kizaru pouted. Aokiji scratched his head. Yeah, what is Monk doing? Isn't Roger's resurrection causing us trouble? Akainu's face was also full of puzzlement. He really revived Roger, but how could he revive Roger? That's the most evil person in the world. Garp, who was walking up to the execution platform, paused, staring at the familiar figure on Crescent Bay in astonishment. Roger. His pupils trembled violently. The old enemy of the year actually appeared in front of him again. On the execution platform, Ace whispered hoarsely, "RO. Roger." On the side, Sengoku was puzzled and angry. "Monk, what are you doing? How can you revive Roger? It's one thing to revive Roger and give Marine another enemy, but the most important thing is that Roger knows all the truth about this world. Now that the man who knows all the truth about this world is actually resurrected, the world government will definitely not be able to sit still, Nuo Haojiao, and will punish him. That would be troublesome. Audiences all over the live broadcast screen, the world is still in shock and has not recovered for a long time. Someone quickly broke the silence, and there was no roar of anger. What does it mean to resurrect a devil? That's right. There are so many strong Marines who can be resurrected, so why revive the devil Roger? If it weren't for the words he said back then, would there be so many pirates today? B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* satisfied with Roger, and their hearts are full of fear and hatred. Because Roger's words opened the era of great navigation, leading to the current situation where pirates are flooding. Of course, these people scold Monk, even if Monk is there, he won't care. He's doing his own thing, nobody else's business. The meeting room of the Beitu Continent Revolutionary Army was silent. After a while, Sabo couldn't help but said, Monk, is this crazy? Don't be afraid to resurrect Roger, the world government will erase it. This kind of resurrection is no longer tolerated by the world government. What if Monk revives a character from more than 800 years ago? What if the 100-year blank history is made public to the world? Monk is making himself uncomfortable by doing this. Above the sea, Kaido, Yinma and others on the floating island. They looked at the revived Roger on the screen and were speechless for a long time. After a while, Kaido couldn't help but burst out laughing. Monk's move is really beyond people's expectations. Roger is here. The world will become more interesting. Advertisement. Chapter 132 Monk becomes the master of One Piece. Advertisement. Roger's resurrection shocked the whole world, but the resurrection of Roger made many people unable to understand. Why did Monk revive Roger? Including Marine, Sengoku, and the three admirals are also very dissatisfied with Monk's practice. This has nothing to do with normal times, but the resurrection of people like Roger. The impact is too bad. Monk, kill Roger before he recovers. Sengoku yelled at Monk on the execution platform. It's fine if you want to display your magical items, but it's a bit too much to display in this way. What are you kidding? Isn't Monk mad at him with such a display? However, the monk below sneered and said, don't worry, uncle, don't worry. Roger told me that he wanted to be a pirate in his previous life, and he wants to try other things in this life. On the execution platform, Sengoku's face turned green. God damn, he was a pirate in his previous life. In this life, he wants other things. As long as he becomes a pirate, can he have other choices? And Roger is also the man who reached the top of the pirates, so there is no need to say anything more. Impossible to change. On Roger's side, he also had a dazed look on his face, and after he stopped immediately, he no longer doubted his life. Tell yourself why is this here? Roger couldn't help looking up and looking around, seeing his current situation and the surrounding situation. There are many Marines, and some guys who look like pirates. This made Roger even more confused. Didn't he die? Are Marines and pirates still fighting under the underworld? At this time, Roger saw several familiar faces, Golden Lion, Rayleigh and Whitebeard. Although these people look older, they can still be recognized. Roger couldn't help raising his hand to Golden Lion, Whitebeard and Rayleigh. Hey. You are dead too. Ha ha ha, long time no see Rayleigh. Whitebeard, where's your lovely yellow hair? Shiki, why have you become obscene? Roger's personality can be considered very detached, and he doesn't look like a boss at all. Rayleigh, Whitebeard, Golden Lion and others looked at the familiar person in front of them, showing a familiar smile, looking very domineering, but actually naive. For a moment, the moods of several people were inexplicably ups and downs. Rayleigh took a deep breath, and 027 couldn't help but smile. It was still the familiar Roger. The Golden Lion's eyes flickered, and Roger was about to fight. Whitebeard didn't say much, and smiled at Golden Lion. Shiki, now is not the time for you to fight Roger. At this time, the redhead stood up, looked at Roger and said, that's right. We have more important things to do now. If you want to fight our captain, find abuse, it's not too late. Roger looked at the red hair, and couldn't help being taken aback when he called himself the captain. Who is this kid? Is there a red-haired crew member on your own ship? Soon, Roger thought of that kid, that intern back then. Ha, so it's little Red Taro. Roger was delighted. I didn't expect you to grow up so big now. It's already a handsome uncle. Ha ha ha. The redhead was speechless, and he didn't expect Roger to call himself by his nickname directly. It is said that the resurrected Roger is about the same age as himself. By the way, what's going on here? Why am I here at Naval Headquarters? Am I resurrected from the dead? Roger has already recognized that this is Naval Headquarters Marineford, and there is still standing on the execution platform and Sengoku in the distance. As for Garp, Roger did not see it. And at this time, Roger found the people around him. Among the four, he knew Zephyr. One of them was a young man, and there were two women, whom Roger didn't know. Oh, Zephyr, it's been a long time. Roger showed his signature smile. Zephyr, as his predecessor admiral, was also a person who experienced Roger's era, so he naturally knew Roger. Zephyr didn't reply to Roger's words, but narrowed his eyes and stared at Roger. Zephyr, don't look at me with such hostility. After a long time, shouldn't we have a good chat? Zephyr still didn't answer. Advertisement. Roger sneered. You are still exactly the same as before. I told you back then, you will suffer a lot if you do this. You have to be like Garp, black and white, back then. And at this moment, Garp on the execution platform said, Roger, don't go around farting. CJFD, believe it or not, lousy beat you all over the place. Roger looked for the sound, couldn't help grinning. Garp. So you're not dead yet. As a former lifelong opponent, Roger's face was filled with excitement after seeing Garp. What about the matter? Roger said. Asked this question, Garp immediately shut up, and there was a gloomy flicker in his eyes. Of course he knew what Roger was asking about, but Ace was by his side now. Sengoku glanced at Garp, but didn't say anything. He looked at Roger, raised the phone in his hand and said, Roger, have you seen the prisoner next to me? This is your son Potter Cassidy Ace. Today he will be executed because of your blood. After Roger heard the words, an inexplicable light flickered in his eyes. He first looked at Ace, but then he was not angry, but instead showed his signature smile. A nice guy, he looks a lot like me. On the execution stage, Ace looked at his father, and his heart was complicated to the ultimate level. There was a feeling he hadn't seen in many years, and there was also a kind of resentment for him abandoning himself and the woman he loved deeply. Had his father not been Roger, would his mother have died for acting like that? If the father hadn't been Roger, would he be on the execution platform today? And at this moment, Roger below suddenly shouted, "Son! You wait here, father, I will go up to rescue you soon." On the execution platform, Sengoku's face was still ugly. He really wanted to slap Monk to death now. What does it mean that Roger wants to change? Is this wanting to change? Not at all okay. Although Zephyr, Momosugi, and Hina said that they also have a deep understanding of Monk, they believe in Monk in their hearts and have no negative thoughts about Monk. Since Meng chose to revive Roger, there must be a reason for him. Seeing Roger say such words, Golden Lion couldn't help laughing out loud. He looked at Monk and wanted to say a few sexy words, similar to "thank you for helping us add a fierce general," but suddenly he thinking of the horror that he was shocked by Monk Conqueror's Haki just now, he swallowed it back abruptly. It's better not to provoke Monk. Whitebeard, Futura and Redhead have the same idea as Golden Lion. It's better not to provoke Monk. It's a good thing for them now that he didn't choose to join the battle. If Monk chooses to join the battle after the ridicule is over, the situation will be terrible. So it is said that everyone is happy in their hearts, but no one speaks out. And at this moment, Monk, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. Hee. Roger, I'm really sorry, I didn't resurrect you to save Ace. Roger couldn't help but looked at Monk, and found that it was an unremarkable young kid, which surprised him a bit. And what did that kid just say? Revive yourself. Roger seemed to show his smile to everyone. He smiled and said to Monk, "Little devil, you said you resurrected me." Monk smiled without saying a word, but directly threw a fairy bean to Roger. Let's stop talking nonsense, the doctor eats this one. Monk's operation once again stunned the audience. Didn't expect that Monk not only revived Roger, but also planned to cure Roger's old disease. Roger took the thing thrown by Monk in the air, and then opened his palm to see that it was a green bean, which surprised Roger. He sneered. Little devil, what do you mean by giving me a mung bean? Monk didn't answer, but walked straight to Roger, walking towards Roger under everyone's gaze. Red Hair, Rayleigh, Golden Lion and others planned to do it one by one. Although they didn't know what Monk was going to do, they knew it was wise not to let Monk get close to Roger. However, Zephyr, Kizaru, Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru shot out one after another and stopped them. Roger looked at everything that happened inexplicably in front of him, and couldn't help re-examining the boy in front of him. Little ghost, it seems that your position in Marine is a bit detached. A young man dared to approach him like this, and Admiral in Marine didn't hesitate to shoot for Monk, which was enough to see Monk's status in Marine. The reason why I use the word detachment to refer to Monk is because Monk does not wear Marine clothing, which shows that Monk most likely does not belong to Marine. Hey, it's okay. Monk chuckled, and then took out the human stickers from the system. Come on, Roger, let me stick this thing on your body. Advertisement. At this moment, the heads of the audience are full of question marks. No, it should be said that people all over the world are full of question marks. What is Monk doing? Why stick something on Roger's body? Naturally, Roger would not let Monk post it. He had a feeling that during the period of his death, the world had undergone drastic changes. It can be seen from the combination of Rayleigh, Red Hair, Whitebeard and Golden Lion, as well as his own resurrection. Oh, brat, what if I don't want to? Roger was still smiling, but his eyes had become sharper now. It's up to you, Roger. Monk said, and at the same time his eyes flashed red. Conqueror's Haki. Monk unleashes Conqueror's Haki once again. Roger is not only a strong Conqueror's Haki, but also an observation Haki. The moment Monk was about to activate, he predicted what he would look like next, and with a swish, Roger was sweating all over. He lived up to the previous smile, but looked at the young man in front of him with horror. Brat, you don't have to release the Conqueror's Haki again. Roger had a wry smile on his face. Then he looked at Monk and said, Young man, do I know your name? Monk, your future master. Monk replied lightly. This answer caused the pupils of Redhead, Rayleigh, Whitebeard, Golden Lion and others to constrict violently. Master, what does this mean? Do not know. I'm afraid the sticker in Monk's hand is weird. On Marine's side, the others also looked at Monk, full of doubts in their hearts. Roger and Monk looked at each other, his eyes were also puzzled. Master. How could he possibly recognize this brat in front of him as his master? But a strong perception told Roger that the kid in front of him was not lying. Roger wanted to attack the boy in front of him, but the strong sense of crisis prevented him from even raising his hand. After observation Haki reached the top level, he could foresee what would happen in the next few seconds. What Roger foresaw was that he would kneel in front of Monk. Resistance has no effect. Roger shook his head helplessly. Before I become a walking dead, can I die clearly? He felt that the thing in Monk's hand was likely to control his consciousness and make him a walking dead. Don't be afraid. You won't become a walking dead, you still have your current self, the difference is that you can't disobey my orders. Monk stopped talking nonsense, walked directly behind Roger, and pasted the master servant sticker on Roger's back. In front of the live broadcast screens around the world, everyone saw Monk walking behind Roger and sticking the sticker in his hand on Roger's back. Everyone couldn't understand why Roger didn't resist. Just let Monk stick things on his body. Is this still the man who reached the top? The powerhouses who are watching the battle can see more. They can see that there is no fighting spirit in Roger's eyes, only endless helplessness. Even the man who once reached the top of the Great Poseidon felt hopeless. At the top of the conference table, Long murmured. On the island floating in the sea, Kaido and Big Mom were silent, watching everything happening on the battlefield. A moment later, Kaido's roar sounded, and the voice shook the world. Roger, you are a piece of trash. However, if you asked Kaido to think about it from another angle, if it were him, would he dare to move in front of Monk? Even if he dared, wouldn't he be the same as the Golden Lion in the end? This roar seemed to be scolding Roger, but it was actually unwilling. Monk's strength has become the world's #1. However, what these powerhouses don't know is that Monk can only use Conqueror's Haki, as well as the ability of Ice Fruit, and Hawkeye's knife skills are still effective against Hawkeye. Some difficulties, other abilities, such as Armed Color, Knowledge Color, etc., are not top-notch at all. But the Conqueror's Haki of the unparalleled level is enough. After pasting the Master Servant sticker on Roger's back, Monk said lightly, "Eat the fairy beans in your hand." Roger chuckled and said, "Of order. Master. **********. Advertisement. Chapter 133, The Power of Master Servant Stickers. Roger becomes Monk's servant. Advertisement. After putting on the Master Servant sticker, Roger ate the fairy beans in his hand under Monk's command. And his voice, "Of order, Master," shocked everyone. Golden Lion, Whitebeard, Redhead and Rayleigh were all dumbfounded. What did Roger just say? Why is it called Monk? Owner. How could this be possible? This is Roger, a Roger who would never be inferior to others even if he died. When faced with the siege of the entire flying pirate group of Golden Lion, Roger did not back down at all, although the main reason was that he predicted the huge storm in advance. But even without the storm at the beginning, Roger would definitely not compromise. So it's only because of that thing Monk just pasted on Roger. What kind of magical item is this? The red-haired sweated. Must be a magical item, it couldn't be anything else, otherwise Roger wouldn't be able to call Monk master. At this moment, the faces of Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Redhead and Golden Lion were extremely gloomy. Originally, they thought that Roger would become their combat power after resurrection, but now instead became Marine's combat power. But the addition of an opponent is not the reason why Whitebeard, Redhead, Rayleigh and Golden Lion are angry. The main reason is that Roger is now the man on the side of the beam. Marine 3 Admiral's side, because they came to stop 3 Admiral, they also heard Roger's master. Akainu looked at Roger in astonishment and disbelief. Now Roger is becoming Monk's servant. Aokiji also shrank his eyes, this development greatly exceeded their expectations. Yo, what kind of magical item is this? Kizaru sighed in surprise. Although Zephyr said he was surprised, but he was able to accept the strange things that Monk did, which is why Monk said that he would take Roger's body and Hanfa would do the same. He believed in Monk, just like having a time machine could have saved his wife and daughter. On the execution platform in the distance, Sengoku, Garp and others did not hear the conversation in Crescent Bay, and they are still very confused about Roger's current situation. Monk, is this for Roger's fairy beans? Sengoku squinted his eyes, looking at what was happening far away in Crescent Bay. What the hell is going on? Garp groaned without speaking. On Crescent Bay, Monk ordered Roger to take Shondo. At this time, Roger still retained his consciousness, but now his highest consciousness is to obey Monk's orders. Roger took the fairy beans without hesitation, and immediately his eyes widened. His body was more comfortable than ever, and the warm current flowed through and healed everything. At this moment, Roger's face was full of surprise. It's incredible. His incurable old disease was actually cured. It was precisely because he knew that he would not live soon that Roger chose to surrender himself. And now this seemingly ordinary celestial being actually cured him. Roger widened his curious eyes and said, "Master, this is." The corner of Monk's mouth was outlined, and he explained to Roger. From his ability to fish for fruit, to today's magical items, and the resurrection of Roger is also a magical item. Roger was surprised when he heard it. This is as exciting as my adventure. And at this moment, on the execution platform, Sengoku could no longer suppress the confusion and anger in his heart, and shouted, "Monk, what is going on?" Monk turned his head and glanced at his uncle, and explained loudly, "Just now that is a new magical item I fished out, called Master Servant Sticker. As long as I put a sticker on anyone's back, that person will become my servant. Of course the prerequisite is that my Conqueror's Haki can overwhelm the opponent." Everyone present was shocked by Monk's explanation. As long as it is pasted on anyone's back, that person can become a servant. As long as Conqueror's Haki is stronger than the opponent. What a terrifying magical item. Moria felt inexplicably terrified. As far as Conqueror's Haki is concerned, Monk's Conqueror's Haki is obvious to all, and it can be said that Monk's Conqueror's Haki is now #1 in the world. In other words, as long as there are enough magical items called Master Servant Stickers, Monk can make everyone, or all enemies, become his servants. Brother Ming, Hawkeye, Shang, Empress. Every Shichibukai felt terrified, and feared ultimate in their hearts. Their Conqueror's Haki is not as good as Monk. If affixed with this magical item, they will become servants. Everyone just felt a chill down their backs. Advertisement. On the execution platform, Garp's eyes widened. That means the current Roger. On the side, Sengoku's eyes lit up. Monk, that means Roger is now a member of Marine. No, it's actually my servant, not Marine, Monk replied. After all, Marine does not belong to Sengoku. Once his uncle leaves office, the future Marine and Sengoku have nothing to do with him. This is why Monk has no sense of belonging to Marine. What he cares about is Sengoku, Momoshiki, Zephyr and Hina. These people, he only cares about their life and death. Marine is just a big organization under the world government. Sengoku didn't care so much, his face was full of joy. Now that Roger has become his nephew's servant, as long as Monk lets Roger participate in the battle, this will not only improve Marine's combat effectiveness, but also have a profound impact. The original One Piece is now fighting for Marine. What will the world think of Marine? It will definitely increase everyone's confidence in Marine. One Piece can control it. Isn't it easy for other pirates? Monk, Sengoku said with excitement. He said loudly, Uncle, I didn't ask you to fight for Marine, but now I have a request, and that is to let Roger fight for our Marine. Monk touched his nose, shrugged and said, Uncle, then I will reluctantly agree. But afterwards, I want credit. On the execution platform, Sengoku is also refreshing, isn't it just for credit? Just give. Can. Monk laughed, and then directly let Roger take the shot, and he was ready to go back to fishing. Under the influence of master and servant stickers, Roger's answer was very straightforward. Obey. Master. But master, I don't have a weapon in my hand. Ask Sengoku, those two bastards Garp, where they put my ace. Roger's knife is also called ace. Monk looked at Hina. There was no need to speak. Hina took the initiative to lend the lightning pill to Roger. Roger looked at the lightning pill handed over by the little girl in front of him, with only one shoulder. He took it in a daze. Roger was dumbfounded. What he wanted was a famous knife. Give himself a knife without a blade. How do you fight this yourself? Although it is true that Roger is unarmed, he is also a swordsman, and his combat power will still be reduced if he does not have a good sword. Stop talking nonsense, just inject physical strength directly. After Monk finished speaking, he ignored the matter here. He's going to keep fishing. According to the current god-level fishing speed, if the delay continues, he may end up at the top, and he will not finish fishing. Roger poured his doubts into his body, and the blade appeared in the next second, followed by the advanced sword skills. Roger couldn't help but be amazed at this advanced knife technique, good knife technique. Even Roger thinks this knife technique is very good. He couldn't help looking at Golden Lion, Whitebeard, Redhead and Rayleigh, and then laughed loudly. Everyone, I'm sorry. After speaking, Roger went straight to the Golden Lion with a lightning pill in his hand. Rather than playing Rayleigh, the Redheads or Whitebeard, Roger thinks it's better to play against the Golden Lion. After all, they often fight against each other and are regarded as enemies. Roger went straight to the Golden Lion, which made his face extremely ugly. He held two famous knives and glared at Roger viciously. Are you kidding, Roger? UB**********D is now fighting for Marine. Golden Lion doesn't care about the influence of any magical items. In his heart, Roger is recognized as a strong man. If he betrays his own way now, he will wake Roger up. You should continue to sleep forever. Golden Lion also charged out with two swords in hand, and fought Roger together. Rayleigh, the red-haired couple felt pain in their hearts. They were happy that Roger was back, but they only had heartache in this scene. Turning grief into anger, the red-haired, Rayleigh shot together, and Whitebeard also shot with a scream. The cadres of the double emperors took action one after another. On Marine's side, the three admirals shot again, and the battle broke out again. On Monk's side, Zephyr returned, and Momoshiki, Hina and others poured water and handed snacks to Monk, because the battle seemed to have nothing to do with them. Advertisement. In front of the screen live all over the world. Everyone watched in astonishment as another battle broke out. ... Seeking Flowers 0. One Piece Roger became Marine's man. This is the horror of mystical items. No, it's Monk's horror. He just said that only when Conqueror's Haki is stronger than the other party can the other party hear about it. If there is no Monk, Marine will not be able to make Roger obedient even if he has this heaven-defying magical item. It seems to be right. Although it is said that Monk didn't make a move, he is affecting this battle all the time. On the live screen, the Golden Lion crazily attacked Roger. Under Shandu's healing, both of their old illnesses were healed, and the difference in strength is not too big. However, Roger is the strongest player at the pinnacle of Conqueror's Haki after all. Together with the lightning pill, he could have suppressed Golden Lion all the way. However, after Golden Lion just fought against Monk, Conqueror's Haki was further improved, which led to Roger gaining the upper hand, but he was not completely suppressed. The point. Akainu continued to fight against Whitebeard, and Whitebeard gradually adapted to Akainu's changes. Even if he was suppressed, he was still able to cope. Aokiji is fighting against the red hair. Originally he was against Rayleigh. The reason why he is fighting against the red hair now is because Rayleigh was robbed by Kizaru. This makes Aokiji very helpless. To be honest, although he has awakened Conqueror's Haki, it is still not enough to face the red-haired top Conqueror's Haki. So Aokiji had a very uncomfortable fight with the red hair, and was wounded by the red hair several times. Fortunately, there was a fairy bean to recover, which kept Aokiji from gradually falling into a disadvantage. On Kizaru's side, he had just played against the redhead, and he was beaten a bit uncomfortable, so now that a new round of fighting has started, he immediately chooses Rayleigh. The fight between the two was 50-50, not intense at all, as if they were dancing swords with each other. With the top combat forces restraining each other, Marco, Ben Beckman and other cadre-level powerhouses were liberated. Ben Beckman is known as the Emperor's deputy whose strength is infinitely close to red hair, and he went straight to the execution platform. The most important thing in the present situation is to solve the save Ace. As long as Ace is rescued, they don't need to be so passive, and they can choose to leave or continue fighting. However, just as he approached the square, a man in armor appeared in front of him filled with black mist. This made Ben Beckman squint his eyes. Zephyr. Awakened form of dark fruit hyphenation point gravity monarch. The gun in Ben Beckman's hand fired bullets continuously, but the bullets disappeared immediately after touching the black mist. Absorbed. Zephyr finally chose to shoot. He is not the same as Monk. Still can't watch the Marine soldiers suffer. Marine is still not high-end enough to face the double emperors plus the combat power of the two old era powerhouses, so he has to make a move. Seeing that the bullets didn't work, Ben Beckman retracted the firearm and pulled out the dagger from his waist. Armament Haki on the dagger makes the whole dagger extremely black. In fact, Zephyr's Dark Fruit Awakening looks extremely powerful, but the strength itself lies in the restraint of Devil Fruit's ability. Ben Beckman does not have Devil Fruit's ability, so it can be said that the biggest advantage of Dark Fruit's ability will not be displayed when facing Ben Beckman. However, Zephyr himself is also a strong physique player. In terms of cooperation, his Dark Absorption ability still suppresses this man who was known as being close to red hair. A punch directly blasted Ben Beckman tens of meters away, but Marco came to meet him and blocked Zephyr's further attack. Zephyr glanced at Marco with his eyes hidden under the black mist, and then grabbed him with one hand. In an instant, Marco returned to the original form, unable to maintain the Phoenix form at all, and was directly smashed to the ground by Zephyr, and then thrown out. This is the absolute restraint of Dark Fruit for Demon Fruit power. Marco is depressed. Don't do this, can you? It makes me look a lot weaker than Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman didn't think too much. Captain Marco said, your white team is responsible for rescuing Ace, and Zephyr will be handed over to me and Lajalu. Usopp, you are in charge of covering at a distance. He and Lajalu don't have the Devil Fruit ability, so it's easier to deal with Zephyr, Marco, and Joes. Most of their strength comes from the Devil Fruit ability, which greatly weakens their own 5 in the face of the law. Marco and the others are not hypocritical. Just after being hit by Zephyr, he understood that he is not Zephyr's opponent at all. So it is reasonable to say that Baitwan and others are responsible for rescuing Ace. 5's. Advertisement. Chapter 134 Another accident happened. Double Emperor reappears. Advertisement. Ben Beckman and Lajalu dealt with Zephyr with both hands, and Usopp gave support from time to time, and under such joint efforts, the awakened Zephyr was restrained. Marco adjusted his state and turned into a phoenix and headed straight for the execution platform. Other members of the white group also rushed to the execution platform, and others were members of the red group. As for soldiers and pirates, there is a big gap in the number of the two sides, but the deployment of Marines is still emerging, and any door can be seen everywhere. This caused the pirates some headaches as they couldn't be sure where the arbitrary door would appear. It was very likely that if they killed the Marine in front, a group of Marines would appear behind them and surround themselves and others until they died. Under such deployment, the joint efforts of the double emperors did not break through Crescent Bay. And Marco and others also encountered Shichibukai's attack, but everyone on Shichibukai's side just pretended to have no motivation at all. The last cadres of the Red Regiment were responsible for dealing with Shichibukai, and went straight to the execution stand, leaving only the captains of the White Regiment, Marco, Josie, and Foil Vista. On the execution platform, Ace looked at the members of the White Regiment who were dying continuously below, couldn't bear it, closed his eyes and gritted his teeth. Sengoku glanced at Ace, ignored him, and looked to Garp on the other side. He said lightly, your position is not assigned for this battle, what are you doing here? Garp. Garp stood up straight, looking at the battlefield without speaking. Do you have any opinion on my combat decision? Garp couldn't bear it anymore, and cursed loudly, shut up. Where I want to stay, can you control it? Saying that, Garp sat down on the execution platform directly. Sengoku, how can I say that this old man entered Marine at the same time as you? Naturally understand that pirates are not, 47, worthy of sympathy. Pirates, however, deserve no sympathy. Garp recalled the events of Ace and Luffy when they were young. But the family is different. The old man bit his lip. He had been holding back tears these days, but this time he couldn't help crying. Tears fell. The man who had fought for Marine all his life cried. Ace, why can't you and Luffy listen to me? Why do you have to become bloody pirates? Look at Monk, how comfortable and carefree Monk is now. Even if you don't like Marine, even if there are many disgraceful things in Marine, as long as you live like Monk, I will be satisfied, Grandpa. Ace looked up at Garp, with tears in his eyes, Dad. Monk doesn't need to fight for Marine at all. He just needs to live out his own choice and live out his own life. Do you think he is running around the world as wanted by others? Monk did not fight for Marine. No one would blame him, even if he did many things that puzzled Marine, and even a little angry, Marine would still forgive him. Why? Because he is valuable, and he didn't join the army, and he was backed by Marine because of Sengoku. So no one said that Monk is not. On the contrary, it is because Monk brings value to Marine from time to time and makes people respect. A life like Monk is the smartest way to live. But now he has to fight. Marco broke through the line of defense. The Marine soldiers in the square exclaimed again and again. The guns in their hands kept roaring, but they hit Marco like grapes, and they couldn't hurt Marco at all. Shichibukai was blocked, and no one can stop the Emperor's deputy now. However, in the next second, something unexpected happened to Marco and the others. On the square, among the nearly 10,000 soldiers, there were hundreds of Marines using moonwalk to go straight to Marco. What's going on? Marco was stunned. These soldiers are not only proficient in Marine 6 styles, but also armament Haki. In the distance, Chao Zi and others were dumbfounded. When did Marine have such a group of elites? Although the Haki of these people is not strong, and the strength is not as strong as Marco, but it is better than the number of people. Under the siege of hundreds of soldiers who can use Haki, Marco is still unable to move an inch. On the execution platform, Sengoku said loudly, "This is a group of elites that our Marine has cultivated in a year and a half at a huge price." After a year and a half of training in the spiritual time room, plus memory bread, Mao Dai wine, and Wazian blessings, all the Marine soldiers are elite. It's not an exaggeration, a group of people here can besiege and kill 4 emperors. Marco, Yinji and the others felt chilled. When did Marine have such a group of elites? How did they not know? It took a year and a half to build. Even a year and a half can't create a super elite army, can it? What's more, there are 10,000 people. However, in fact, this elite force appeared in front of them now. Advertisement. These 10,000 people are enough to stop the captains of the Whitebeard pirates. At this moment, the pirates are a little desperate. There is no way to rescue Ace in this way, not to mention there are 2 last lines of defense on the execution platform, the Buddha Sengoku and Garp. On the execution platform, the corner of Sengoku's mouth was also slightly drawn. According to this situation, there is no need to raise the fence at all. Don't look at the current high-level combat power to check each other, but as time goes by, Marine's high-level combat power will completely crush Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Rayleigh, and red-haired people. You must know that the Marine executives have a lot of fairy beans on them. But at this moment, an accident happened. I saw another huge island appearing above the sky in the distant sea area. The appearance of the island made Sengoku's eyes shrink suddenly. Below, countless Marines and pirates who fought each other also looked up at the sky. Who is it again? Golden Lion. Isn't he fighting Roger? Who is it this time? Enemy or friend? Whether it's Marine or the pirates, they are very worried. The pirates are gradually showing weakness. If it is Marine's people, the pirates will be defeated. As for pirates, once they are pirates, the situation where they are gradually losing their advantage no longer exists. So neither side wants to have any mishaps. But soon, there is no need for others to guess, because Kaido's voice has already sounded. What a delightful scene. Ooh. Kaido's laughter echoed everywhere. Ha 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 ha, Mon. The laughter of the ant above also sounded. Marine, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, do you miss me? Whether it's Marine or pirate, both sides are frowning. Kaido, because Mom. The 2 craziest and unreasonable guys also came. Golden Lion didn't think too much. After seeing Kaido and his aunt, he immediately showed a sinister smile. Kaido, Linlin, let's work together to flatten Marineford today. Shiki, you are not qualified to talk to me now. The ant laughed. This made Golden Lion feel dissatisfied. But what Auntie said is correct, the power above the sea has never been seen as an individual, and there is also the overall strength of the subordinates. Now Golden Lion's flying pirates have existed in name only. On the Marine side, when they saw Big Mom and Kaido coming, all of them looked ugly. Under the current situation, there were actually 2 more 4 emperors, or a whole regiment, which made the situation worse again. The balance is about to be tipped. The Whitebeard pirates have a total of 30,000 royal soldiers, and there are also a group of powerful givers, that is, members who have successfully obtained abilities after eating man-made devil fruit. The 3 admirals are all enemies, plus the 4 emperors, they are in a difficult situation. On the execution platform, Sengoku narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice, I'm afraid we will be executed early. Unexpectedly, a full-scale war broke out directly after one execution. These 4 sea emperors stand at the top of the pirates. The advantage is that once the 4 sea emperors are wiped out here, the sea will become peaceful. The disadvantage is that if it is really wiped out, Marine will also suffer heavy losses. Even with Monk's magical items, it will be difficult to recover in a short time. The troops invested by the 2 sides reached a huge 200,000, a very terrifying number. On the island in the sky, Kaido glanced down and looked at Roger who was standing on the side of Marine. Then he looked at Monk who was fishing comfortably. Monk. This time, I'm here for you. Your ability is far beyond our imagination. We never thought that you would be able to make Roger yours. Just through the live broadcast, Kaido has already learned about Roger's current situation. This is the man who climbed to the top of the sea, walking in our strongest ranks, stepping on top of our heads. Although I, Kaido, don't want to admit it, I have to say that Roger has done everything I can't do now. However, you made him your servant. What you did made us a joke. The monk below is holding a fishing rod. He doesn't know if he is listening or not. He stretches out his little finger to hook his ear. Advertisement. Kaido's face turned green. At this time, Whitebeard said, Kaido, how about joining forces first? Now is not the time to deal with Monk. Everyone present can see his combat power. Once Monk makes a move, he must be dealt with by 2 emperors, which is not worthwhile. It's better to take advantage of the period when Monk didn't make a move, and join forces to deal with Marine. This is the most correct choice at present. Kaido left Whitebeard behind, he also knew that he had seen Monk's strength just now. Not talking nonsense, he said to the ant, Linlin, we want to get as many magical items as possible. Ooh. The ant's eyes were also vicious, of course I know this. This time their main purpose is to capture more magical items and hit Marine hard. Kaido smirked and rushed to Akainu directly. Akainu, I will take over the magical item on you. Big Mom went straight to Aokiji. She wanted to snatch the magical item from Aokiji first. Jin, Quinn, Jack, Flying 6. Katakuri, Smoothie, Cracker and other 4 stars made their moves one after another. Beast's pirates, and Big Mom's Big Mom pirates joined the battlefield, and the situation was reversed in an instant. These are the 4 emperors of the sea who own the new world. People all over the world watched the battle in horror. Guy, Kaido and Big Mom. The remaining 2 sea emperors actually joined the battlefield. Too many accidents happened today, right? I really didn't expect that execution would turn into an all-out war. This is already considered an all-out war, and there are only a few top forces in the world, and now they are basically in Marineford. I'm afraid Marineford will live up to it after today. Too exaggerated, all-out war suddenly broke out today. Marine is going to end. In the eyes of everyone, Marine faced all the overlords of the new world, and it was already difficult to resist. On the execution platform, Sengoku's face was gloomy, and the appearance of Kaido and Big Mom completely disrupted his rhythm. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "Open the wall. Now that you're here, let's all stay." And just when naval headquarters was undergoing great changes, the Blackbeard pirates had already arrived on the Impel Down side. At the same time, Luffy is also in Impel Down. He rushed to Impel Down when he learned that Ace was executed, but now he has no idea that Ace was directly sent away by Marine with any door. Originally thought it would be extremely difficult to enter Impel Down, but after Luffy and others arrived, they found that the door of justice was open, and the guards outside were all asleep. Although I was surprised, Luffy didn't care about so much 1.8, and went directly to Impel Down. And the Blackbeard pirates inside have already confronted Magellan. Because the jailer was opened by hypnosis, many cages were opened, which caused chaos on the first and second floors of Impel Down. Fortunately, the chaos was suppressed on the 3rd floor. It would be terrible if it continued to the 6th floor. At the same time, Magellan had no choice but to let the jailer release Shiryu of the Rain first, but Shiryu of the Rain beheaded the jailer directly. On the 3rd floor, Magellan has no fear in the face of Blackbeard's entire pirate group. Directly use the Poison Dragon to instantly kill the Blackbeard pirates, and Blackbeard and others cried out in pain on the ground. Magellan looked at the group of them and said coldly, "This group of trash dares to invade Impel Down. Did you really think Impel Down was deserted? Although it is said that because of this battle, Impel Down lacks defensive strength, but Magellan's strength is comparable to that of Admiral. Coupled with his special Devil Fruit ability, as long as the 6th layer is not broken, then there will be no problem." However, as soon as Magellan left, Shiryu of the Rain came to deliver the antidote to the Blackbeard pirates, allowing the Blackbeard pirates to be rescued. And on the deeper level of Impel Down, the boundary that is basically unknown to no one, the legendary prison island, the warden stepped out of the 7th floor. Isaac, hee. The outside world is so interesting now, I should go see it too. Behind him, the jailer hurriedly persuaded, "Director, if you leave here, the world government will act rashly. Didn't those old guys want to beg me obediently in the end? I just went to see the magical item. I'm so curious." Advertisement. Chapter 135. There are 2 aunts. Advertisement. As the warden of Prison Island, Isaac is really not afraid of world government. Why did he become the warden on the 7th floor of the mysterious undersea prison? Not because the world government begged him to help guard it. As for why Isaac was arranged to become the warden of the prison island, and where the prison island is, this involves another secret of the world government. It is rumored that Isaac once defeated Admiral Akainu with one hand, which is enough to prove his superior strength. He is a technological powerhouse, somewhat similar to the Iron Man of this world. But Isaac, who doesn't have a battle suit, is also a strong physique. In short, he is a super strong man who combines physical skills with technology. As for Prison Island, it is a more terrifying prison. Every prisoner in it is a strong man comparable to the 4 emperors level, and some of the prisoners' individual strength has surpassed the 4 emperors. This is one of the reasons why Prison Island will become a secret. Upper layer. After being rescued by the antidote brought by Shiryu, the Blackbeard pirates began to go straight to the 6th floor of Impel Down. As long as we recruit some strong people inside to become partners, then the strength of the Blackbeard pirates will become even stronger. Thieves, ha 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 ha. As for the other pirates under his command, Blackbeard doesn't need to worry about this at all. As long as he has an appeal in this sea, then those who are willing to join their pirate group will. Another factor is that Blackbeard absorbs the prisoners of the submarine prison to become its own members, which will intensify the uncertain factors of the Blackbeard pirate group. Blackbeard doesn't care about this. In short, it can make its own pirate group stronger. Magellan is taking action to suppress pirates at other levels. Now that there is a big battle in naval headquarters, the impact on his prison is still huge. The defensive force is somewhat lacking, and he is the only strong man in the prison today. People like Hanyable are actually not too strong. The most valuable thing about them is their loyalty. Under the leadership of Shiryu of the Rain, the Blackbeard pirates arrived at the 6th floor of the submarine prison even faster. Looking at the prisoners on the 6th floor 29, Blackbeard couldn't help being happy, and laughed grinningly, "Thief, ha ha ha." Lousy finally came to the 6th floor of the submarine prison. Ever since he got the dark fruit, Blackbeard has been planning to capture a pirate worth over 100 million, apply for the title of Shichibukai, and now enter the 6th floor of the submarine prison. His plan is being realized step by step. Everyone. Blackbeard's voice echoed throughout the 6th floor of the undersea prison. Do you want to go out? The prisoners looked at Blackbeard suspiciously at first, but most of them had no impression of Blackbeard. At first everyone thought it was a new jailer, but Blackbeard's next words made the entire underwater prison boil. They are being held here, how could they not want to get out? They dreamed of getting out, and after making sure that Blackbeard wasn't joking, the prisoners went wild. Blackbeard, let's get out. Release me quickly, as long as I get out, I will give you half of my wealth. I can give you all my wealth, which I hid before. Although most prisoners don't know Blackbeard, as long as they can be rescued, it doesn't matter who the other party is. Anyway, let's talk about everything after we go out. Blackbeard let out a deep laugh. The thief, ha ha ha. Your wealth, your loyalty. I don't need anything from you. All you have to do is show your strength in front of me, and I will rescue the ones who survive in the end and become my partners. In the prison, Jinbei's pupils constricted violently. He didn't expect that Blackbeard would be so cruel, causing people here to kill each other. How many people would die in this way? Although it is said that everyone here is extremely sinful, but... However, Jinbei thought it was cruel, but he didn't feel it at all for these vicious prisoners. Without any order from Blackbeard, bloody massacres began in the prison. The strong started to slaughter the weak in exchange for a place to leave the undersea prison. Of course, for those truly strong, they basically don't need to do anything, and other prisoners don't dare to provoke them at all. For example, Bullet, the Red Earl, these people. Bullet and the Red Earl were standing in their own prisons, and no one dared to approach them. You said your name was Blackbeard. Bullet began. Seeing that Bullet spoke, the Red Earl stopped talking and listened on the other side. Haha, that's right. Blackbeard's eyes widened. Seeing that no one around Bullet dared to attack him, Badgers couldn't help but said, Captain, I think we can take this guy in. No one dares to attack him, it must be a ruthless character. Bullet couldn't help frowning at Badger's words, and looked at Badgers with a flash of divine intent in his eyes. Advertisement. Hey. Blackbeard gave a low laugh, and said to Badgers, we can't afford this guy. Even if Bullet was willing, Blackbeard really didn't dare. Because the current Bullet is stronger than before, and he was comparable to Rayleigh back then, together with Shaoli, he became Roger's right-hand man. The current Blackbeard is not sure that Bullet, a ruthless man, will succumb to himself, so Blackbeard will not take Bullet in. Stop talking nonsense, Blackbeard, how did you get into Impel Down? The Red Earl asked on the other side. But don't say anything because of strength, there is no need to say more about boasting about yourself. Blackbeard chuckled, that's because the naval headquarters is fighting now. After thinking about it, Blackbeard smiled and said, everyone must have heard of magical items, right? Blackbeard intends to drag these strong men into the water together, as long as the more chaotic the battle situation is, the more beneficial it will be for his plan. Bullet, the Red Earl and others have seen it before, and they are very concerned about and fanatical about magical items. Blackbeard revealed his plan, and then asked Bullet, Red Earl and others to help him, forming a small alliance. Help you kill Whitebeard. Bullet frowned slightly. Blackbeard, what are you going to kill Whitebeard for? Asked the Red Earl. For the Devil Fruit ability in my hand, I killed the fourth team under Whitebeard. I am afraid that if Whitebeard is still alive, I will have no peace. Blackbeard made an excuse to conceal his true purpose. Bullet, the Red Earl and others don't care about killing Whitebeard or not, what they care about is the benefit. The magical items we got will be picked by the two of you first, and the rest will belong to me. Besides, I'm helping you get out of this cage now, so you should give me something in return, right? After several people's negotiations, a cooperation was finally reached, and everyone got what they needed. And at this time Jinbei said in the prison, Blackbeard, take me to Marineford too. Of course I won't help you with Whitebeard, but if you're in danger, I'll come out. 17. And I, take me to Marineford too. A panting voice sounded, and everyone asked and looked, and saw that it was Luffy in the straw hat. Yo, it's Luffy the straw hat. Blackbeard was delighted. I never thought that you could appear here. How hard is your life? At this time, another deep voice sounded, add me. He ran as G-Lock Doll. However, Blackbeard didn't mind the requests from people to go to Marineford one after another. Let's go, let's make Marineford more messy and sloppy. With the passage of time, several strong men were also separated from the submarine prison. Giant Battleship, Bad Wolf, Bad King, Katarina, Wine Barrel, etc. For these people, Blackbeard is all under his command, making them the Blackbeard Pirates. Then, Bullet couldn't wait to let Blackbeard go to naval headquarters. However, Blackbeard is not in a hurry, he has to bring someone with him, and at the same time see if this person can be used by him. Once, World Destroyer, Burndy. However, Blackbeard did not have much confidence in making Burndy his subordinate. The most important thing he wanted was to make the war even more chaotic. These people will only fight for themselves, which will bring huge variables to the battlefield, and he only needs to kill Whitebeard in the variables. As for Monk, Blackbeard had already left when Monk came on stage, so Blackbeard didn't know what happened afterwards. It can be said that no one in Impel Down now knows what happened in Marineford. After Burndy was thawed, it was exactly the same as Blackbeard thought, and there was no Blackbeard at all. To him, Blackbeard is a nobody, and how could he, the World Destroyer, be the subordinate of such a person? Blackbeard didn't care, and told Burndy about the fight at naval headquarters. Burndy suddenly became furious. It's just right, I'm going to kill Garp too. So far, a small team of Impel Down has been established. Blackbeard smiled and said, haha, everyone, let's go. Let you see a magical item I stole from Naval Headquarters. Thief haha. With that said, Blackbeard took out a random door. However, at this moment, a voice with a smile sounded, that's a divine item. Advertisement. Can I have a look? Everyone turned their heads and found Isaac. Blackbeard, K-Lock, Jinbei. Waiting for a person who is not too old, or someone who has not pouted in the old days, does not know this guy at all. Bullet is not too clear. After all, he has not been on Roger's ship for too long, and Roger already had a disease. However, the Red Earl already knew this guy. Isaac. His eyes narrowed into a line. At the same time, in the dark, Ivan saw everything that happened on the 6th page through surveillance. She was a little shocked. What happened to the outside world now? Is it such a mess? By the way, why didn't Long not notify himself to go out? Should you forget me? Anyway, Ivan decided to take this opportunity to go out and have a look. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. The appearance of Kaido's Beasts Pirates and Big Mom's Big Mom Pirates put Marine in a passive position. And the most troublesome thing about the two royal regiments is that their purpose is to slaughter and seize Marine's magical items, so there is no need to rush into the square and rush to the execution platform to rescue Ace, so it is even more difficult for them to deal with 173. Taking advantage of the addition of Big Mom Pirates and Kaido Pirates, Whitebeard Pirates and Red Hair Pirates began to break through. Marine Sengoku was first. Time allowed people to raise a huge wall, but at this time a huge figure broke through from under the ice. What is that? Yes, it's the Titans family. Okay, what a big Titan family. Here comes Oz, the Titans of the Whitebeard Pirates, Ace's good friend. His body is bigger than a marine warship. He raised a marine warship and immediately blocked one of the raised huge walls, preventing it from going up. This scene made Sengoku's eyelids twitch. Get it up. Stuck, Marshal. A soldier shouted loudly. Ace. Oz roared. I'm here to save you. Fire coverage. Sengoku was furious, and let the soldiers cover fire. All kinds of heavy artillery bombarded Ozzy's body. Ozzy's huge body gave him great strength, but the target was also huge. All kinds of firepower bombarded Oz's body, making him back again and again. On the front line, Whitebeard took advantage of the gap between Kaido and Akainu to escape, but when Oz was about to be bombed again, he spoke out. On the red-haired side, he also escaped because of the ants joining, and also rushed to the square. The two four emperors are no longer hindered, which is a very terrifying thing. And at this time, Monk finally caught the Myriad Realms item. Congratulations to host for getting 1000 Universal Experience points. With 1000 Universal Experience points, Monk took a deep breath. It is indeed a god-level fishing. Then the system's voice continued to sound. Double welfare rewards. Congratulations on obtaining Seraphim hyphenation point complete version ant form 4 Emperor's level. When Monk saw the ant's form, his face immediately turned black. Doesn't that mean that he will always have an ant by his side from now on? Can't bear to look straight at it. However, dislike is nothing more than dislike. The full version of the god-level Seraphim has perfectly inherited everything from Ant, which means that he now has a strong man who is exactly like Ant. The two emperors escaped, and Zephyr had no choice but to give up the torture of Ben Beckman and Lajulu, and instead rushed to Whitebeard. But blocked by the red hair, I'll play Zephyr with you. Whitebeard is not hypocritical, he is really difficult to deal with the nemesis of demon fruit power. Now he is unstoppable, but at this moment, a burst of laughter resounded. Emperor's sword. Whitebeard raised his eyes, and then he looked blank. Linlin. Advertisement. Chapter 136 Stirring up a storm. Something happened to the 6th floor of the submarine prison. Advertisement. Whitebeard originally thought that no one could continue to stop him, but he didn't expect to kill Big Mom. But the ant in front of me is not the ant now, but the ant when she was young, when Rox was still there. Not only that, but the ant in front of her is also different, that is, her hair is white, there are star-shaped patterns in her pupils, and a pair of white wings behind her. However, the appearance is a little different, and the strength and ability are exactly the same as Big Mom, and she also has the soul fruit ability. What the hell is going on here? Whitebeard was stunned, completely confused where the ant in front of him jumped out of. On the other hand, the redhead who fought against Zephyr was also surprised by such a change. Why did an old lady come out? Everywhere on the battlefield, strong men were shocked by the appearance of an ant. Especially the ant herself, who was even more puzzled. How can there be an extra self? But all incomprehensible things can be attributed to only one person, and that is Monk. Everyone present looked at Monk in unison. Monk. Auntie frowned. Is this also the magical item you fished? The ant had a questioning tone. Everyone present looked at Monk, including Marine, waiting for his answer. That's right. It's true that the magical item that was fished out is called Chiweishi 5 Big Mom. A complete reproduction of all the strengths of Big Mom, including Devil Fruit. This time the faces of the pirates present were ugly and frightening. It is quite scary to reproduce a 4 emperors completely, with exactly the same strength and ability. Now we can recreate the Big Mom, so what's next? Kaido, Whitebeard, red hair. Will the 4 emperors be able to reproduce? Once it can be reproduced, wouldn't it be a joke that all the 4 emperors were present today? Outside the live broadcast room around the world. The world was also shocked by the appearance of another ant. That means the little girl is also a replica. The replica is Hancock. The magical item can also catch a replica person. Monk's abilities are becoming more and more unpredictable. Battlefield. The high-end combat power has tended to be balanced, and many battles are exhausted. What makes Kaido feel aggrieved is that he was full of confidence and directly shot at Akainu to take his magical item. However, it was suppressed by Akainu. At this moment Kaido really realized the advantages brought by the magical item. Akainu uses the strangeness of magical items, coupled with the assistance of Shondo, to suppress Kaido. If it weren't for Kaido being the strongest creature, it would be hard to resist with its amazing defense. On the other side, the ant faced Aokiji, and the two fought well. Kizaru faced Rayleigh, and the two also fought back and forth. On Golden Lion's side, he faced Roger, and it was difficult to tell the winner for a while. Redhead fights against Zephyr, thanks to his powerful Conqueror's Haki and lack of Devil Fruit ability, so he will not be restrained. The top Conqueror's Haki can diffuse the impact of Devil Fruit, so the two sides are equivalent to physical combat. Whitebeard's fight with S-Ant was very anxious in a short period of time. On the Shichibukai side, they make shots from time to time, which is completely soy sauce. Jin, Katakuri, these powerhouses at the Vice Admiral level are not cared about at all. T-dolphins, flying squirrels, ghost spiders, and so on are limited in what Vice Admiral can intercept. Therefore, the situation on the battlefield is still somewhat disadvantageous for Marine. But it can already show how terrifying Marine's strength has improved now. The 4 Emperors Regiment plus 2 Old Age powerhouses did not lose quickly. Although Marine is at a disadvantage today, Sengoku is not too anxious. Garp, have you ever imagined that our Marine can have the powerful combat power it has today? Sengoku asked Garp. Garp sat next to Ace, with a noncommittal face. He looked up at the battle between Marine and the pirates below, and said in a low voice, Sengoku, how many people will die in this battle? They all died for justice, worthy of death. When it's about the same time, I will start the annihilation plan. The pacifists will launch a siege from outside the bay, and the surrounding giant forts and heavy artillery will conduct indiscriminate attacks. Advertisement. As long as all the 4 emperors are left behind, so what if the loss of Marine is serious? Once the 4 emperors die, the pirates on the sea will be shocked, and there will be no 4 sea emperors in New World, because the age of sailing will end early. Ace's face was full of haze when he heard it. But now Sengoku is not in a hurry, wait until the pirates are weak, and then close the live phone bug before proceeding. Although the pirates also have small fairy beans, the effect of Marine's fairy beans is better, and the pirates will be weaker than Marine. But at this moment, a random door suddenly appeared. Originally, the appearance of arbitrary doors on the battlefield was not too conspicuous. After all, Marine's deployment here used many arbitrary doors. However, at this moment, a laugh sounded. Thief ha 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 ha. Everyone, Blackbeard, are back. Blackbeard stepped out of any door in a high profile, followed by Badgers, Van Oka, and other members of the Blackbeard pirates. On the execution platform, Sengoku was surprised that Blackbeard had any door, but the loss of magical items in the chaos is also very normal now. The arrival of Blackbeard did not attract too many people's attention, but the Whitebeard pirates and others paid the most attention. After all, Blackbeard committed the most egregious crime, not only killing Sazi, but also leading to Ace's public execution by Marine. Thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard didn't care at all. He raised his hands high and said to the audience, Marine, pirate. Look who I brought to you. There must be a lot of old acquaintances of you. Blackbeard's words attracted people's attention, and they all turned their heads to look. In the next second, Marine was dumbfounded. I saw that bullet came out first, followed by the Red Earl, then Burndee, and then Clock Doll, Jinbei, Luffy and others. Seeing the emergence of another group of strong men from the old era, Sengoku's face on the execution platform was extremely livid. The Red Earl, Burndee, and Bullet. These are very famous strongmen among the strongmen of the old era. Aren't these people imprisoned in the submarine prison? Garp was startled, and stood up on the execution platform. At the same time, what Garp didn't understand was why that kid Luffy was in this group of people. Ace was also quite stunned by Luffy's appearance. No one thought that Luffy would appear here in a war of this scale. The appearance of these old age powerhouses made the people on Marine's side feel more pressure. Even if they didn't bring terrible troops, these old age powerhouses were enough to control the situation of the battle. Yo, what happened at the submarine prison? Kizaru couldn't help but muttered. What is that guy Magellan doing? Why did you let these people come out of the 6th floor of the submarine prison? Akainu was a little dissatisfied with Magellan. It can be seen that the submarine prison has been breached. Otherwise, why would these well-placed prisoners appear here? Aokiji didn't say anything, only seriousness appeared on his face. Kaido, Big Mom, Golden Lion, Whitebeard, Redhead, these people immediately showed joy when they saw Bullet and others appear. In this way, Marine will have to allocate energy to deal with other people, so they can have more power to concentrate on dealing with one of them and grab the magical item. The appearance of the Blackbeard pirates with Bullet and other strong men from the old era once again broke the balance of the scene. At the same time, it surprised people all over the world. I really didn't expect that the First World War would cause so many changes. The appearance of the 4 emperors was outrageous, and now a group of prisoners from the 6th floor of the submarine prison appeared. Many old people knew the prisoners who appeared. Looking at their faces, they recalled their previous fears. The first one to come out was Bullet. When I was young, I was a terrifying existence on the battlefield. I once led my kingdom to defeat the strong with the weak, and later became one of Roger's right-hand men. A presence comparable to Rayleigh's. Comparable to Pluton Rayleigh. Another monster. It was comparable to Pluton Rayleigh before, so isn't it stronger than Rayleigh now? No, I don't know. It may be stronger than before, or it may be weaker than before. After all, it has been imprisoned on the 6th floor of the submarine prison for many years. What is Bullet? The other one is the real horror, Red Earl. Once upon a time, the lone wolf in the sea was as powerful as the Golden Lion and Whitebeard's entire pirate group. It is said that one person has the combat power of an entire pirate group. A character like this has come out. Hi, is Marine still fighting? World Destroyer Burndi, former Shichibukai G. Lokdar, and Jinbei. The more the world recognizes these prisoners, the more frightened they become. Anyone who was taken out at random is an existence of the level of the Overlord of the Sea. On the screen, on the execution platform, Sengoku gritted his teeth, the anger in his heart could no longer be contained, and as the resourceful general, he probably figured out the reason. Advertisement. Blackbeard. Well done to you. Sengoku's tone wanted to eat Blackbeard alive. Blackbeard laughed loudly. Thief, ha 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 ha. Marshal, I'm really sorry, I also want to improve the combat power of my Blackbeard pirates. Why? Say. Blackbeard was very surprised. I didn't expect Kaido and Big Mom to join the battle. It's really interesting. But soon it was Blackbeard who found a shocker, that's. Blackbeard froze for a moment, then rubbed his eyes, wondering if he had read it wrong. However, Blackbeard soon realized that he was right. See, One Piece, Roger. For Roger, anyone who is a pirate is no stranger. After hearing the exclamation, the others all looked in the direction of Blackbeard one after another, and then all of them showed expressions of horror. Bullet's eyes widened in disbelief, looking at this figure he hadn't seen for many years. R.O. Roger. He was also taken aback. Not only him, almost everyone was stunned when they saw Roger. Isn't Roger dead? Why is it still here? Could it be Marine's fault? Before everyone could solve their doubts, a group of flames that were as hot as the ultimate seemed to be swept by everyone. Dog nibbles Red Lotus. Akainu uses moves to drive these prisoners back to the 6th floor of the submarine prison. Blackbeard grinned grimly. Ha 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 ha. Thief, Devil Fruit's ability is useless in front of me. But before Blackbeard could make a move, someone made the first move. I saw the huge magma dog was blasted away by a punch, bursting and splashing out towards the surroundings. Akainu's pupils shrank involuntarily. Only a familiar voice sounded. Akainu, you are still so irritable. Following the sound, Isaac stepped out from the other side of any door. The moment he saw Isaac, Akainu's expression turned ugly. Isaac. Marine was also surprised by Isaac's appearance. What is this guy doing here if he doesn't guard Prison Island properly? And why is this guy hanging out with the prisoners? On the execution platform, Sengoku looked ugly, and he said in a low voice, Isaac, I need an explanation. No specific explanation was given, but anyone with a discerning eye knew what explanation Sengoku needed. Isaac didn't panic at all, he chuckled. I've been on Prison Island for too long, come out for a walk. As for these pirates, they are not prisoners under my jurisdiction, they belong to that guy Magellan, so I have to get rid of them. As he spoke, he couldn't help looking at Sengoku, and the corner of his mouth drew a line. Speaking of Sengoku, I heard that your nephew has acquired a very extraordinary devil fruit ability, and can fish out many magical items. Can I have a look? On the execution platform, Sengoku grimaced and said nothing. Although Isaac is said to be from the world government and employed by the world government, he is also an extremely unstable factor. So Sengoku didn't want to tell him about Monk at all. Regarding Sengoku's silence, Isaac was not angry, and continued to laugh. The resurrection of One Piece Roger is also the creation of a magical item. Oh, it's really amazing, it makes me more curious about the magical items and who Monk is. After hearing Isaac's guess, the eyes of all the prisoners on the side flickered. Roger is also revived by magical items. If it is really as Isaac guessed, the heaven-defying of magical items is already beyond imagination. And at this moment, Blackbeard saw Monk fishing in the distance, and he couldn't help showing surprise. Yo, everyone, that is the famous Monk. I didn't expect that Naval Headquarters is now in a big battle, and he would dare to appear here. Originally, Blackbeard planned to capture Whitebeard's shock fruit, thinking that Monk would not appear in the war, and it would be easier to capture Whitebeard's poisonous fruit. But now that Monk is here, what is shock fruit? Of course, the fishing fruit is more exciting. Advertisement. Chapter 137. A shell directly hit Isaac hard. Advertisement. Monk will appear on the battlefield, which is something Blackbeard did not expect. After hearing that Monk was also there, everyone on the side followed Blackbeard's eyes and saw Monk fishing in the distance. That's Monk. Bullet questioned first. The others looked at Blackbeard too, waiting for his answer. Because the image of Monk is completely different from what they imagined. Exactly. Blackbeard replied affirmatively. He was the most famous fisherman of magical items back then, when. After getting an affirmative answer, this made the prisoners focus all on Monk. Yo, interesting, I didn't expect Monk, who was famous all over the world, to be a young kid. Seeing that the prisoners were a little eager to move towards Monk, Tiautu, Hina and others beside him immediately became alert. On Zepha's side, he wanted to go to protect Monk, but once he left, the red hair would be vacant, which would be bad. On Akainu's side, he immediately got rid of Kaido, went towards Monk, and protected him by Monk's side. Although Monk's strength has just been seen by all, but let Monk face several old-era powerhouses at the same time, everyone is naturally worried. Others can't give up their opponents to come to support, so he can only go out. After Isaac learned of Monk's location, he was about to walk towards Monk, but was stopped by Akainu. Isaac, stop, or don't blame me for being rude. Akainu's tone cannot be questioned. After Isaac heard the words, he could not help but draw the corners of his mouth and smiled. Akainu, don't be like this. I am also the warden of the prison island. I am employed by the world government. I am the same as their marine, and I am one of my own. Since it's my own, it's not good for you to stop me like this. Akainu didn't care about this, he continued to use an unquestionable tone. Monk is employed by our marine, and only belongs to our marine. As long as there is no permission from our marine executives, no one can approach him. Now Isaac was completely dissatisfied. Akainu, I must go there. Do you think you can stop me? You must know that in our confrontation back then, I could have defeated you with one hand. Although Akainu was very annoyed when he heard it, he didn't say anything, because what Isaac said about 467 is the truth, and when he fought with him, he was easily suppressed by the opponent. And at this moment, Monk, who had been watching the show while fishing, finally heard a system voice in his mind. It's a pity that I can't fish the Wanji props, and won the consolation prize god-level Motai. If it were Wazi, Monk might feel depressed, because Wazi is mainly used to improve the ability of Devil Fruit, while Motai can be used to improve Conqueror's Haki. Coupled with the 1000 universal experience points just obtained, Monk may be able to make Conqueror's Haki go a certain distance at the unparalleled level. Now Monk's Conqueror's Haki has been able to intimidate a powerhouse like Golden Lion, and it can injure Golden Lion without using his hands. Continuing to improve, Monk felt that his Conqueror's Haki could instantly make a 4 Emperor's level powerhouse unconscious. In this way, it is really possible to face any strong person without taking a shot. However, it is a bit difficult to make a strong person at the 4 Emperor's level lose consciousness. Conqueror's Haki can make people lose consciousness. In addition to the strength of Conqueror's Haki, it also depends on whether the opponent's willpower is strong. If the opponent's willpower is strong enough, they can still resist the Conqueror's Haki. As the 4 Emperors, the willpower of each one is strong enough. Concentrated the thoughts in my mind, and at the same time the voice of the system sounded. Double welfare rewards. Congratulations to host for getting the air cannon. The system is being improved. The improvement is complete. After seeing the air cannon, Monk couldn't help being taken aback, and immediately waited until the improvement was completed. Monk quickly looked at the system. Air cannon, the myriad world props obtained from god-level fishing can allow users to inject all their own abilities, such as Haki, Devil Fruit abilities, and then integrate with their own physical strength to launch several times more than their original attack power double the air cannon. Seeing the description below, Monk couldn't help being speechless. It can fire an air cannon that is several times more powerful than itself, a terrifying offensive weapon. As for how many times more, this is impossible to know. Monk intends to practice it. After all, practice is the only criterion for testing truth. Of course, Monk was too lazy to do it himself. He took out the air cannon and handed it to Akainu. Akainu Admiral, try this magical item from the latest fishing. Akainu was confronting Isaac freely. After hearing about the new magical item, he couldn't help but quickly looked at the thing that Monk handed over, and found that it was a gadget. Can't help looking up at Monk, asking, what is this? Advertisement. Monk grinned. Air cannon, put this on your finger, and then inject your own ability and physical strength to launch it. After the improvement of the system, the air cannon is different from the original air cannon. The original air cannon is worn on the arm, but now the air cannon is worn between the fingers, so it looks very miniature, just like a toy. The expression on Akainu's face was noncommittal. Looking at this gadget, he didn't know what to complain about. To be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that Monk gave it to him, or it was a magical item, Akainu would have thrown this thing in the face of the person who gave it to him. However, I have seen so many magical items before, basically many of them are mediocre, but their functions are actually very heaven-defying. This is the case with fairy beans, for example. Akainu didn't talk nonsense, and directly put the air cannon on his finger. In the distance, everyone around couldn't help but look at Monk after hearing that a brand new magical item had been fished. After seeing the magical item on Akainu's finger, everyone looked at each other in dismay. What kind of magical item is this? Aokiji, Kizaru and other marines had exactly the same idea as Akainu. If they hadn't seen the magic of Monk's other magical items before, they couldn't help complaining. As an offensive magical item, this air cannon is even more unreliable than the first time I saw the lightning pill. Whitebeard, red hair, Kaido. Although these 4 emperors laughed and laughed, they didn't look down on them too much. After all, they have seen many magical items and learned that Monk's magical items cannot be judged by appearance alone. The people who have just come out of the submarine prison have not seen many magical items, but they have seen some when they were showing off in Kizaru. As for Isaac, there is no need to talk about it. He has only heard about magical items, and the only thing he has seen is the arbitrary door that Blackbeard stole and used just now. After seeing Akainu put the air cannon on his finger, Isaac couldn't help laughing. It's really a cute mini weapon. Is this the legendary magical item? Akainu ignored Isaac's mocking tone, and said coldly, Isaac, now I order you to stop, or don't blame me for being rude. Isaac ignored it at all. Just Akainu, You try that magical item and see if you can beat me with this magical item. If not, I'm going to be with Damon. After eliminating Monk, Isaac's strength is probably on par with Sengoku. Sengoku's current strength can be said to have surpassed Rock's, and this also shows that Isaac's strength has surpassed Rock's. That's why he was able to single-handedly deal with Akainu. Akainu narrowed his eyes, and the previous confrontation with Isaac really cast some shadows, which made him a little jealous of Isaac, CJAC, from the bottom of his heart. Even if Akainu's strength has been greatly improved now, and he can beat any of the 2-4 emperors, Whitebeard and Guy, but the previous shadow makes him a bit of a demon. This made Akainu doubt the magical item in his hand. This magical item called Air Cannon does not give people the slightest sense of reliability. And his destructive magma can't hurt Isaac, so this gadget can. Akainu couldn't help but look at Monk. I saw a confident smile on Monk's face. This smile reassured Akainu a lot. Yep, which magical item has Monk disappointed so far? No, from fishing until now, not a single magical item has been disappointing. Then this miniature thing in my hand will certainly not disappoint. Akainu let out a breath slowly, his eyes became firm. Following Monk's instructions, he immediately injected his own abilities and physical strength. Haki, Devil Fruit's ability and stamina, along with the infusion. Akainu was horrified to find that he was exhausted himself. Just filling up the air cannon, he was already sweating. This is mainly due to the fact that he consumed a lot in the battle just now, but even in its heyday, Shiju estimated the high probability and could only fill it up 4 to 5 times. In order not to die from exhaustion, the number of times should be reduced backwards, that is, about 3 times. A strong man like him can only fire 3 rounds, the consumption of this air cannon is a bit scary. After calming down the shock in his heart, Akainu pointed the filled air cannon at Isaac. Advertisement. Isaac, for the sake of us being our own people, let me say one last thing, stop. Fight the enemy with our marine first, and after the war is over, our marine will arrange for you to meet Monk. However, Isaac himself is a problem boy, otherwise the world government would not need to ask him to go to Prison Island to guard him. On the one hand, Isaac's strength is competent, and on the other hand, it is also to reduce a big trouble at sea, which can be regarded as a kind of supervision and restraint on Isaac. So Isaac didn't stop, and continued to walk towards Akainu with a provocative smile, and continued to approach Monk. Akainu's eyes turned cold, he didn't intend to continue talking nonsense, and fired the air cannon in his hand directly with a thought. As for what to do if Isaac is injured, there is no need to worry about this, because there are fairy beans. The air cannon turned Akainu's injected ability and physical strength into air cannonballs and fired them out. Everyone could only see the air vibrations, and it was difficult to catch this invisible air cannon. This can't help but surprise some people. If the observation Haki is not at the top level, it will be difficult to avoid the attack of this magical item. Whitebeard said in a deep voice. The attack is invisible and quality less, and it is too hard to guard against. Have you noticed that the air cannon seems to be able to? It can interfere with observation Haki. Katakuri exclaimed. He originally wanted to use his observation Haki to see what would happen in the next few seconds, but he suddenly realized that he couldn't predict it. At this moment, the strong men began to gasp. This air cannon actually has the same ability as the knowledge kill. Everyone was quite surprised, so far only the top can interfere with observation Haki. A level Conqueror's Haki, and the magical item that is now fished can do this, which is a bit outrageous. On Isaac's side, he raised his eyebrows, then laughed loudly and said, observation Haki is difficult to capture, but with my technology, I can see it clearly. Ha 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 ha, here it is. Isaac jumped up, and the fist with the mechanical arm in his hand slammed at the air cannon, intending to blow the air cannon away. However, at the moment of contact, Isaac's expression changed drastically. What? He felt the terrifying power from this air cannon, and the power contained in it was not something he could easily resist. Isaac was full of confidence and wanted to catch it with a single fist, but now he can't use both hands. He gritted his teeth, trying to defuse the air cannon with both hands, but it didn't work at all. How could this power come from Akainu? Isaac was shocked and frightened in his heart. This was the first time he experienced such power. On both arms, the mechanical arms that he was so proud of began to collapse. His whole body was pushed back by the air cannon. Akainu. Isaac growled, fear in his voice. He wanted to say to stop the attack quickly, but this attack was a hands-off attack, and it couldn't be stopped by Akainu's withdrawal. In the end, Isaac really couldn't resist the air cannon, and with a boom, the air cannon blasted on Isaac's body abruptly. Isaac bleeds instantly, and his eyes almost turned white. The machinery on his entire body was also lost in this explosion. The super strong Akainu who was able to defeat with one hand at this moment fell heavily on the ground in embarrassment. There was green smoke. Behind Akainu, Monk touched his nose and said with emotion, it seems that the attack power of the air cannon is not very good. It didn't kill Isaac. The battlefield was silent, and everyone turned their heads to look at Monk. Nima, isn't such power terrifying? Are you kidding me? This is not good. What can get into your eyes? The power of the air cannon shocked the audience. Advertisement. Chapter 138 Air Cannon. One shot into the soul. Advertisement. Akainu used the air cannon to directly injure Isaac, which directly shocked the audience. No one present at the scene thought that such a small thing could fire a powerful shell. The audience was silent for a while, except for Isaac's painful groans on the ground. Isaac on the ground supported his body and got up slowly, looking at the damaged mechanical parts around him, feeling distressed. This is a technology he made at a huge cost. Isaac then wiped the corner of his mouth, which was already bleeding. Ever since his strength reached the top of the world, since he was recruited by the world government and asked him to sit on prison island, he has basically never been injured, let alone beaten to the point of bleeding. This is enough to show how terrifying the power of the magical item that monk newly fished out is. Isaac spit out bloody saliva, and got up slowly from the truth. As a top powerhouse, he still has the ability to move as long as he slows down. However, at this moment, Monk said the words that shocked the audience. The air cannon didn't kill Isaac directly, it seems that it still can't. Isaac stood up originally, but almost fell down again after hearing Monk's words. He could hardly believe his ears and looked straight at Monk. Does this kid know what he's talking about? If you can't kill yourself directly, that's called, no way. Who are you? What strength? Once defeated Akainu single-handedly, the world government asked to go to guard the existence of the prison island, so I can be killed casually in the mouth of this monk. Don't talk about killing, it's pretty amazing that such a situation has been created now, isn't it? All around, the Blackbeard pirates, Bullet, Red Earl, and other prisoners who came out of Impel Down, including the 4 emperors present in the old-time powerhouses, were all shocked by the power of the air bombardment. This power is a bit exaggerated. Even the strongest man, Whitebeard, was surprised. This power has far exceeded the power of shock fruit, not the destructive power of a range, but the destructive power of a single one. It can be said that among all the strong people present, no one can achieve the power of the air cannon. Redhead got rid of Zephyr and hurried to join Whitebeard. Now there are new powerful god-tier items in Marine, we'd better not fight alone. Isaac's strength was directly hit hard, let alone other people. Fortunately, Kaido, the strongest creature, has a strong defense, maybe a little better than Isaac, but if he is hit head-on, he probably loses half his life. The most frightening thing is that the attack power is powerful, and it also comes with a knowledge kill, which interferes with observation Haki's perception and greatly increases the difficulty of avoiding it. Whitebeard nodded, agreeing to the redhead's proposal. On the other side, Rayleigh and Golden Lion also moved closer together, and Kaido and Big Mom moved closer to each other. The air cannon is powerful enough to be dreadful. Seeing the arrogance of the pirates at the beginning extinguished, just because Monk's new magical item appeared, Sengoku on the execution platform couldn't help but feel very happy. This is undoubtedly a turning point in reversing the battlefield. Firstly, Marine can breathe and readjust deployment. Secondly, with the deterrence of air cannons, pirates dare not be too aggressive. In front of the live broadcast screens all over the world, everyone also saw the pirates start to shrink their offensive, and they were all shocked. In fact, many people are not very familiar with Isaac. After all, Wen is guarding a secret prison island, and most of the world does not know the existence of that place. But if you don't know it, you don't know it. What Isaac said just now is very clear. He can defeat Akainu with one hand. That is the representative of Marine's highest external combat power. The existence of Marine's strongest combat power can be defeated with one hand, which shows the great strength of Isaac. What's that on Akainu's finger called? The air cannon is also a magical item. I thought it was a ring at first, but I didn't expect it to be a cannon. The power is still so terrifying. According to the current meaning, isn't it one shell for 4 emperors? Why does 4 emperors not feel so scary all of a sudden? There is another point that Sengoku did not consider, that is, the power of the air cannon can make people in the world suddenly feel that the 4 emperors are the same thing, and there is nothing scary, and it can reduce people's fear of the 4 emperors and pirates. On the side of the revolutionary army, Sabo stood up in shock. Such a powerful cannonball also comes with knowledge killing. Monk's magical items are getting more and more outrageous. Commander, are you sure we don't take action now? Crow, the army commander, asked. Advertisement. Now that Marine has the strength to resist the 4 emperors' regiment, if they continue to develop, it may be difficult for our revolutionary army to overthrow the world government. It's going to get trickier and more remote. Long Moment at the top didn't make a sound, and shook his head after a while and said, at present, our revolutionary army is still unable to make a move. Now it's the battle between pirates and Marines. Once we appear, CP intelligence will intervene. No one can predict the future direction. The current direction is unpredictable, said Sabo, a staff officer of the revolutionary army. No, the more powerful people there are, the less the war will last. Out of the consideration of their own strength, the two sides will inevitably reach a consensus to finally quell the war. Otherwise, even if Marine has a brand new magical item like an air cannon, he will still suffer heavy losses in the end. A large number of soldiers died and a large loss of combat power is something that Marines cannot afford, which means that this generation of Marines will form a fault that cannot be relieved for several years or even decades. You must know that the troops invested by both sides are as high as 200,000. Not to mention all deaths, just talk about the end of the war. How terrible will it be if the casualties exceed 100,000? Such data cannot be afforded by any force. The most important thing for us now is to preserve our strength, and then rely on Vegapunk's replica to further enhance the strength of the revolutionary army. This battle is also a good thing for our revolutionary army. At least the Marine side will not be able to slow down for a while, and the energy will not be able to take care of the Vegapunk side. Vegapunk can also reproduce magical items. As the commander of the revolutionary army, since he made a decision, everyone present could not say anything. Open black lens bracket. You can only continue to watch the live broadcast of the battle. However, they soon discovered that the live broadcast had been cut off. The live broadcast is over. What's the situation? Why did the live broadcast disappear halfway through? The sudden interruption of the live broadcast has surprised people around the world. On the side of the Revolutionary Army, the dragon at the head looked serious. Could it be that Sengoku is really capable of doing it? The intelligence of those who can lead the Revolutionary Army, needless to say. Marine chose to cut off the live broadcast, and Long probably guessed what Sengoku was going to do. Sengoku, are you planning to sacrifice the lives of ordinary soldiers? Probably not. When Long was pondering, suddenly the scene of the battlefield appeared again in the live broadcast room, and the person who broadcast the live broadcast was Buggy the Clown. Buggy also escaped from the undersea prison, not only Buggy, but also many prisoners on the second and third floors. Even Ivan led people out from the 5.5th floor of Impel Down. The current battlefield is just as Long guessed. The pirates have started a full-scale bombardment of Crescent Bay. Even if it affects their own people, they will not hesitate. Looking at what is happening on the battlefield now, the dragon's face showed anger. Really, just his first thought, Marine will do whatever it takes to win. What Long thought was right. Now the scale of the war has grown to an unprecedented level. After this battle, even if Marine wins in the end, it will be a miserable victory. As a result, Marine will inevitably have a gap in its combat power in this era, and it will not be able to recover for a few years or even 10 years. However, Long Xiaoju's move is that Sengoku is willing to gamble. Now that all 4 Sea Emperors are here, together with the strong men from the old era, and many pirates, as long as they can keep all of them in naval headquarters, even if they can't keep them all, it's good to leave half. Great victory for Marine. As for the failure of Marine due to this, Sengoku has thought about it, and will find Monk to fish in the future. As long as he fishes out of the spiritual time house, he can quickly make a group of recruits have combat power. As long as you can catch more spiritual time houses, you can fill the gap. Although it is definitely not possible to match the 100,000 elites summoned this time in a short period of time, it is still worth it. The battlefield on the screen. While the pirates were shrinking their offensive, Sengoku began to bomb the Crescent Bay indiscriminately. The pacifists began to encircle and suppress pirates from outside the bay to inside the bay. Pacifist is not very effective against Shichibukai and above, but it is very deadly against ordinary pirates. Lasers like Kizaru make a group of pirates want to stop. Coupled with the various bombardments of the surrounding giant forts and heavy artillery, Crescent Bay became a purgatory in an instant. Ask for flowers. At the same time, Kizaru walked up to Akainu and said with a smile, "Hey. Let me try this air cannon." Advertisement. Just so you can use your devil fruit ability, Akainu. Akainu glanced at Kizaru, without saying anything, and handed the air cannon to Kizaru. Monk was very surprised. I have to say that Akainu and Kizaru are really two old friends. Akainu seems to be dissatisfied with Kizaru everywhere, but in fact, it can be seen from some aspects that he is at ease with Kizaru. After handing over the air cannon to Kizaru, Akainu raised his hands and aimed directly at the sky, then used Meteor Volcano. This is Akainu's most powerful move. Both fists continuously ejected magma, like magma shells fired into the sky, and then countless huge magma fists above the sky broke through the sky, bombarding Crescent Bay continuously. Crescent Bay suddenly burst into flames, and even the huge Mobity was not spared, and it was turned into a sea of flames in Akainu's Meteor Volcano. The Whitebeard pirates couldn't help feeling complicated when they watched the Mobity ship that had been with them for decades destroyed. It can be said that this ship is also their partner. And now that the Mobity has fallen, Ace has to be rescued, otherwise all the partners who died just now will be sacrificed in vain. In the square, Whitebeard yelled, "All attack me." The red hair also yelled loudly, making the red group all charge. Now the Whitebeard pirates and the red hair pirates only need to charge in full, and the Marine in Crescent Bay is directly thrown to Kaido, Big Mom, the 2 royal groups, and the Impel Down prisoners who suddenly appeared. Marine's new round of attacks once again made the war imminent. Bullet, Red Earl, and World Destroyer burned head straight for Monk. They want to get Monk, and they want to get the magical item in Monk's hand. Blackbeard was not in a hurry, he was quietly observing, looking for opportunities at any time. As long as Monk has the opportunity, then take Monk's fishing fruit, and as long as Whitebeard has the opportunity, then take Whitebeard's shock fruit. In short, Blackbeard is all about stability. Zephyr saw 3 strong men from the old era rushing towards Monk, and he wanted to support him. However, Whitebeard, Redhead, and most of the cadres under the command of the 2 royal groups rushed to the square, and he couldn't get away at all. Once they leave here and go to support, the square will completely lose its defense. He can only crazily launch an attack on the red hair, trying to defeat the red hair in a short time. The red hair saw Zephyr's intentions, so he could only pester him, and he would not fight to the death at all, which made the 2 sides fall into a stalemate. On Whitebeard's side, Kizaru took his place. "Yo, Whitebeard, let me see if you, who is known as the strongest man in the world, can withstand the attack of the air cannon." After Kizaru finished speaking, he began to inject physical strength and ability. The first time he used the air cannon surprised Kizaru. This thing consumes a lot. Without hesitation, Kizaru ate himself a fairy bean before launching again. This can make Sengoku look livid on the execution platform. Kizaru is too wasteful, isn't he? After the battle, Marine consumes a lot of celestial beans, so the celestial beans will be used up soon. Kizaru ignored it at all, and after recovering his strength, the mid-term air cannon aimed at Whitebeard. Whitebeard's pupils contracted violently, and even cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The biggest fear is not the fear of power, but the difficulty of catching the attack and intercepting it. Just when Whitebeard was about to slash down with a knife, Marco suddenly appeared and used the phoenix form to resist the attack of the air cannon. However, even in the phoenix form, he still couldn't resist the terrifying power of the air cannon, and Marco was hit hard in an instant and lost consciousness. The whole body fell heavily on Whitebeard's body. Whitebeard used his huge body to weaken the power for Marco, walking on the ground for tens of meters before stopping. He quickly looked at the state of Marco in his arms, and his face suddenly became gloomy. Almost to the point of dying. Marco is also a strong man in this sea, but he is so weak in the face of air cannons. Not daring to think about it, Whitebeard gave the last fairy bean on his body to Marco to let him recover. Kizaru couldn't help raising his eyebrows. Hey, Whitebeard, can you tell me, where did your fairy beans come from? If you say it, at least it can slow down your death. Kizaru used the air cannon to frighten the Whitebeard pirates alone, and Monk, the attack from the old era powerhouse was about to arrive. Several. Advertisement.